Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And I am delighted to be with you today, relatively on time. But not perfectly on time, because perfection is something that no one wants to be on the internet. How are you guys doing? We've got there we have our first guest. Just a second. Hey, Mr. Peacock. Oh, you were muted. You're still muted. If you can hear me. Oh, there you go. You're now unmuted. Nope. No camera yet. I'm live, but you're muted to the stream right now. So you can So let me, while you see if you can work that out, let me tell the chat. We've got two guests popping on at some point tonight. The first one is here, Mr. Peacock. We'll only have him for about a half hour or so, probably, as he has other things he has to do. But he posted a news story that I would like to talk to him about with you guys. So that will be fun. And then we will also have Dan Fraga on in a little bit, as soon as he's ready. His channel was nuked like an hour or two ago from YouTube for having too much sexuality on it. So we're going to talk about that with him. I don't think that's a real thing, but yeah. So if you'll bear with me for just a second, Mr. Peacock, how are you doing there, pal? Okay, sounds good. Dan is here as well. Hey, Dan, how's it going, man? Yes, the audience can't yet. Do you want me to bring you live straight out, or did you have anything? Okay, here. Let me bring you on. Let me bring you on the stream here. Okay, you're unmuted. Now I just need to move you over here. And we have another guest today, Mr. Fraga. This is Mr. Peacock. He's trying to get his camera working.
How are you, everybody? I'm more retarded than I thought I was. I'm just gonna try coming back after I just closed the whole browser.
No, there you are.
All right.
There you are. Let me get you guys
nice to meet you.
Side by side here. Oh, that's perfect display of homoeroticism.
Oh yeah. Can you send me a link to the chat?
I still got my motherfucking bunny suit on, man.
Yeah,
Beautiful
you do.
Bunny suit.
Because it's about integrity, Mr.
This
Peacock.
is integrity. This is integrity right here.
Beautiful.
Here's the chat, man. I can send you the chat too, Dan.
Yeah, how do you? So I can see it.
Yeah, it's just a chat window. If you don't want to have like the stream open in a separate browser window, that way the chat will be there.
How does that work? Where is it? Where did you send it to me?
Twitter.
Oh, okay, I'll grab it.
Yeah.
Grab it.
Mr. Peacock is here for a limited amount of time. We were going to talk about this this going on in where is this in California?
Yeah. This is in California, I believe, up north in Contra Costa County.
Wait, that's where I grew up, dude.
Oh yeah, so maybe you know about this.
I grew up in Martinez. I was born in Walnut Creek.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, I don't live out there. I used to live up in Sacramento, so a buddy of mine got married out in Walnut Creek, so I'm familiar.
Okay.
With this news story. Huh?
Yeah. I said, that's trippy. Here in Contra Costa, I haven't heard that in forever. That's crazy.
Well, next time you go visit, let me know.
Yeah.
So last week or so, in Contra Costa County, I forget the exact city, some BLM protesters ostensibly got a permit to write BLM in big fat yellow letters on the street in front of City Hall. A few days later, some people went and just with black paint, the same color as the asphalt that it was painted on, covered it up because they didn't like what they thought was graffiti, I assume.
Right.
These people just today have been arrested and charged with hate crimes for covering that up. And here's what's real depressing to me about this. I was talking to some people, and including some DAs down here in Los Angeles, and they were saying things such as, well, I mean, it was permitted, so it's not that big a deal. I mean, it's not like this is hate or it's not thought crime that the government is policing. It's policing destruction of a permitted art installation or whatever. Well, first, if that's all it were, then we wouldn't be talking about hate crimes, you dipshits. Second, the fact that the state is coming down with hate crime charges against people who tore down something that the state permitted makes it even more of thought crime. Guys, if this if this is the state saying, hey, you're allowed to say that, and then if you go and oppose that message in a physical manner expressing your First Amendment rights, we will throw the fucking book at you and try to get you locked up for 20 years. I mean, this is the kind of shit that we're dealing with. And that's just so depressing to me. I have said many times on your channel, on my Twitter, Dan, sorry if we're getting a little too far into the weeds for you, that in civilized societies, politicians who act in their own best interests and for the best interests of their pet projects and against the interests of the people and liberty in general would be hanged. I say that a lot. And I repeat that. I'm not saying that anyone should hang this DA for charging that, but there are some places in the world where this DA would be hanged.
Yeah. I was making that point earlier that if you as a state permit an overtly political project and then someone speaks out against that project, their speech is necessarily political and therefore protected to the maximum. So I can't figure out why there would be any charge other than maybe just a vandalism charge. Like, I get that. If the state wants the street to say Black Lives Matter, well, I guess that's the state's prerogative, and that's fine. And then, therefore, altering...
But no, I'm not sure that it's fine. Even just on that, I don't know that the state could itself authorize and support what constitutes political speech on public property, right? This is specifically allowing political speech of a socialist bent, but whatever you want to call it, it could be socialist, fascist, Republican, Democrat, independent, doesn't matter. It's necessarily political speech on public property permitted by the state. I don't know that the state can do that, right? Like, would the state be able to allow someone to write in indelible ink, vote Biden 2020, vote Trump 2020, and then prosecute people who cover that up for hate crimes?
Well, yeah, it's the two steps, right? Because the first step is, can the state even allow an overt political message being painted in an art mural on public property? Assuming yes, they shouldn't be able to prosecute anything on the back end that happens to that, other than, I guess you could call it vandalism, which would be like a petty misdemeanor, right? A ticket.
Generally an infraction, sometimes a misto if the damage is over, I think, $1,000, but it's been a long time since I repped anyone on that, so I can't be sure. Yeah, but it's what we call a wobblet, where it can go either misdemeanor or infraction.
Right, so I can't imagine it would be anything more than that. Someone was saying, well, they got the permit, so it was theirs. And I was like, well, I wasn't aware that permitting someone to do something gave them a property right in a piece of public property. Like, right. So it's not like the civil rights violation and the hate crime are absolute nonsense, because how is it you don't have a civil right that is being infringed upon by, how do I put this? By someone else speaking louder than you, right? So if I get a permit to protest and there's a counter protest that shows up and they're louder than my protest, no one gets charged with that crime. Like, that's not a crime or a criminal act, and it shouldn't be. So, and that's what this basically is, right? It's a permit to protest on public property through an art mural. And then someone comes in and they try to override that speech with their own. And then there's no damage done to a victim. There's no person that's being targeted. So I don't know how a hate crime would play into it. And I don't know what right they would have in that piece of property. It's very, very, very weird.
It's a political stunt. Anyone can see. But you bring up a very good point that this is necessarily political speech. And so I am very interested in seeing if a criminal defense attorney can file an anti-slap motion. I would love to see that happen at the arraignment. But I guess we'll never know, because it's probably going to be some guy who doesn't think about it like that. Anyway, I think we're getting too far into the weeds. I'm sure that Mr. Frege did not come here to talk about law.
No, man, I'm actually tracking with all of this, and I think it's all very interesting. When I look at it abstractly, like I try to look at things as I grew up on a chicken farm, and I used to watch the chickens, and I noticed they move like algorithmically. Like chickens, they kind of move the same, right? Like,
oh no, are you Russell Crowe?
yeah. And I would just watch, and they kind of moved in like this way. And you know, if you take out the abstraction of it all, like the BLM installation, so to speak, could have been anything. It could have been a painting of a Cupid. It could have been a painting of an arrow going through a heart. It could have been anything, right? That they got permitted to put some art there.
Sure.
So, and if someone comes in and paints it over, my assessment as a layman is that I go, well, worst case scenario, like you said, it's vandalism. Like you're destroying a permitted piece of art. But the fact that they're associating this hate crime upon it is exactly what you're saying, which is that it's a thought crime. They're basically assigning an intention to something that they have no actual proof over. You can't say you vandalized this because you can't be in another man's head, you know. The only thing that happened was this was permitted. This wasn't. The permitted thing got, for all intents and purposes, destroyed. Whatever laws govern destroying permitted artworks is the end of it. That you can't attach anything on top of that. You can't say, oh, and you said your mama on top of that, because you fuck you for saying your mama.
I would.
This is a hate crime, and you said your mama to my mama, so I'm going to throw the book at you. It's bullshit. You have to look at it completely abstractly.
Can you imagine the 42-year-old woman sitting there with the paint rollers and be like, "Your mama! Your mama!" That'd be great.
But yeah, that's an excellent point. That's how are they going to say that this person did this out of hatred in her heart, assuming that one buys into the whole concept of hate crime in general.
Right.
But how are they going to say that this woman, and I think her husband was there too, did it out of hatred and not out of, hey, this shiny yellow paint makes it hard to drive down here safely. It makes it hard to see where the lines on the road are, so people are going to crash into each other.
We have a homeowners association where we live, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, it fucking sucks. They have all these things like your Christmas lights are, you know, not this way and that way and whatever. You don't know if that person's like, yo, this is obstructing the beauty that was here before. Mm-hmm. You know, like not your message. I don't agree with your message and I hate you. You can't. But
even if she did, you should be allowed to say that without looking at years in prison.
100% right.
Yeah.
But the point of what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter what the intent of the artwork is. Like I'm an artist by trade, right? And I've had people burn my shit. I've had people rip it. You can't assign intent to it.
You've had your art has just been censored heavily by the oppressive hand of Google. Right, just this evening.
Well, yes.
Yo, dude,
let's talk about this. What's happening with the suppressive of your art?
Okay, here's the thing. I was on a stream with a mutual friend of Nick's and mine, Ethan Van Sciver, and they had taken the Assassin's Creed identity and blacked out some words, and it said ass titty, right? So I made a rap about it on the spot. I just said, yeah, I'm driving through the city. What I really want is some ass titty. You give me $1, I give you 50. Give me that ass titty. It was just like a funny song. Then this guy, Camel Moon, amazing dude, makes this cartoon called Hail Salad. You guys got to subscribe to Camel Moon if you get a chance. And he made an animated character out of me, and then took that audio clip and made this thing about ass titty. So all of my friends, Twitter followers, YouTube followers, start putting AAT in the chat just to say hello, right?
Right.
So I made a little clip today that said ass titty. I found pictures on the internet of fully clothed ass, fully clothed titty, and made a 6-second video that just said AAT on it. Well, somebody flagged it and said I was putting nudity on YouTube, violating severe. The words they used was severe violation.
Severe and repeated, right?
Severe and repeated. So I had a thumbnail for my live stream that was a pair of butt cheeks in a thong bikini with sand covering the butt cheeks with the words "hi."
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you're selling, but I'll buy it.
Yeah, I mean, that's unintended, but
that's the advertisement.
I was being cheeky, right? So
very good.
Come on, I debut this little 6-second clip just to get the crowd rallied up and feeling good because they love the AAT. And no matter whose stream I show up in, I get the AAT. So I do that. Everything's fine. We got StreamYard has got a whole new thing now where you can let 10 people in. I had 9 people in my stream. We're just chit-chatting. I'm talking. One of the guys in the stream says, "Hey, check your channel, man. Something weird's going on." I check it, and it's literally gone. I go on my phone. It's gone. I check my email. Your thumbnail's been removed for violation. All of your memberships have been paused. All of your super chats have been stopped, and your channel has been suspended. If you'd like to appeal it, fill out this form. I'm like, dude, there was no nudity. Like literally, the pictures I chose knowing that there was no nudity. They had bikinis on, they had bras on. There was no nipple. There was no nothing. And I got complete nuke, not even a flag, complete nuke. Like I have no channel right now.
Yeah, it's gone.
A new one. I have a new channel, but thank God. And this is the funny shit is I made it so my kids could watch stuff and it wouldn't fuck up my history. You know, like you know how they have suggestion.
I've got one.
For a while, like I'm like, oh, cool. There's Nick. There's Ethan. Monster High. Mario Brothers, Pokemon, what the fuck? So I created this other one so they can, do their thing on it. So now I just moved over, but I'm starting back from zero, like zero. No money.
How many did you have before you got nuked?
It wasn't huge. It was only 4,610.
That's a lot, man.
It took me a while. I mean, the part that hurts my soul. I mean, I'm happy for every sub, but getting those 4,000 hours of watch time is not easy.
No, it's rough.
That is a slugfest. It's comparable to Hell Week. Like it's a slugfest. And now I got to do it all over again. I mean, I welcome the challenge. In one way, it's a complete blessing. I go, oh, look, I can curate my channel from zero. Like I can do brand new thumbnails. I can, curate this brand new channel. But at the same time, my platform's gone, and everybody I subscribe to, like I subscribe to you, Nick. I subscribe to a bunch of other people whose channels I get their alerts and I watch their streams, I watch their videos, I'm excited. And now I gotta find them all back again.
Yeah, you gotta remember who it was. That's a mess. Yeah. Hey, can you do me a quick favor? Your mic is clanging on the rhinestones on your hood or the zipper. Is there any way you can position that just a little different?
I can, man. Thank you for the tech advice. I'm an AV kid, so I'll take it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Cowboy.
And on that subject, man, I've got a pre-existing meeting with my YouTube partner manager tomorrow. I was gonna have him take a look. I don't know if he can do anything, but why have one if you don't use it? So I'll bring it up at our meeting and just say, hey, can you do anything with this? Because this is crazy. You shouldn't be shut down.
Just like that, Nick is going to get banned tomorrow too. Everyone, you heard it here first.
You know what's nuts, man, is like that. Like I said, I draw for a living, and there are a couple of YouTube channels I subscribe to that have life drawing that have fully nude women. Right? They're posing tastefully. They're posing tastefully, in like a Michelangelo sort of way, and 15-second poses, and I draw from them. I've never had any problem with that, with watching those. And this, maybe it's context, man. Who knows? Who knows?
No, so I don't know anything about you, but I assume by the fact that you were here on the stream and that your YouTube channel got just fucking yeeted off the internet. I assume you probably have heterodox politics. You're probably on the side of making fun of people and having a good time and not being just a fucking cunt about everything.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny?
What's up?
And tonight was I started my stream. I mean, you can't watch them because they're not there. But if you watch any of my streams and you ask anybody that watches my stuff, I'm generally regarded as the nice, non-political, doesn't get into drama guy. I literally just talk about creativity and things like that. Tonight was the very first night ever that I talked about any news article. There were two in particular. There was one regarding Last of Us 2. And I'm not a gamer, but one of my
Don't worry, neither is Neil Druckmann.
Yeah. But the girl Laura Bailey, she used to be one of my actors. I used to direct a show for Mattel called Monster High. She was one of my voice actors. I know her. I saw that she was getting death threats. I also know that it was like a counter thing to people hating Last of Us. I mentioned that. I also mentioned that Halle Berry turned down a role because the trans community said that she can't do it because she's not trans and doesn't relate and all that. So I mentioned that, and I said that's not really that cool because she's an actor and she should have any role she wants. I mentioned those. I don't think they're related, but literally, it's the first time I've ever had a position on anything on my show, and I don't make fun of anybody. But I did show some ass titty. I did, but I didn't show naked ass titty.
Well, so what's really fucked about that? You don't show naked ass titty. You're not insulting anyone. You're not doing what they call death threats, which can be as what's the word? As innocuous as saying, I hope you eat a cinder block. That's what they call a death threat now. But you got fucking people on YouTube, these dipshits who are really just pedophiles out in the open. I don't even want to say in hiding, but all those weird fucking channels that everyone was talking about a few months ago of, what was it, like little kids in bikinis and shit. You got that on YouTube, and no one's banning that. That I will go out and say, the people who make those videos, they should be hanged. I'm making a judgment call on that one.
No, I'm with it. Peacefully hanged in Minecraft.
Yeah, no, real hanged in real life is what I'm saying.
By the testicles.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, don't fuck with kids, man.
No.
Karate chop to you in
right,
all,
yeah,
all
but
of
so
your
YouTube just lets that go, and you're just over here talking, doing nothing but spreading knowledge and encouraging debate and thinking, and that is deemed too offensive. I don't get it. The whole world is fucked.
It is. That's where we're at right now, and I want to get back to that BLM shit for a second. Is we need to start applying the inverse test. right? And the inverse test should apply to your thing too, Dan.
What is the inverse test?
If something is wrong when you invert it, then it's wrong when it's not inverted. So if, for example, you want to paint a Black Lives Matter logo on the sidewalk or whatever, go apply for a permit to paint a White Lives Matter sign on the sidewalk, and see if you don't get arrested on the spot, right? And then when someone comes in, say you somehow get a permit to paint White Lives Matter on government property. I'm just trying to imagine that happening in California. But then see what happens when someone comes and destroys that. There's no way the vandals of that thing get arrested and charged with a hate crime. So that's the inverse test, is would we do the same thing if we just swap the two variables, right? Instead of
now,
white lady.
I can't speak to that. I can't speak to that exactly. And that seems a bit, I know where you're getting at, and I agree with you. It would not work. The inverse test strongly leans towards this being an unjust permit and an unjust prosecution. But I mean, just to keep it absolutely grounded in reality, what happened in my own neighborhood is up in the mountains, up in the hills. It's in a very nice little canyon. But there's a message board outside where they post, besides the no hunting in this sign, like people, handyman for hire and house for rent and that kind of stuff.
Right.
A few weeks ago, someone posted a sign on the local message board saying, Black Lives Matter. That's it. Someone then posted a sign right next to it that said White Lives Matter. The next day, the White Lives Matter one was torn down, and in its place was a sign calling whoever posted that, you're a bigot and a racist, and you don't understand. So then the next day, after that, another sign was up, this one saying, All Lives Matter. I saw that coming back from the gym. The next day, the All Lives Matter was torn down with another fucking just political screed saying, this is also racist and colonialist, and you're oppressive, and blah, 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 blah. So
it's
then,
not very colonialist, just a brief interjection, because apparently native lives don't matter when you're colonizing.
That's a good point.
So it's It's not colonialist at all.
But so then the day after, this person, whoever was posting the White Lives and the All Lives, went and posted another one. Since it got taken down, you got accused, and it just said, the lives of Black people matter. And this was also taken down and said, by disaffirming Black Lives Matter as a movement and a slogan, you are legitimizing violence against. I live in the fucking boonies, dude. Like, my neighbor is a great guy, Mexican with neck tattoos. My other neighbor is a meth head from the 70s who was like part of Hell's Angels or some shit. The guy down the street is a Vietnam vet. I have no idea where the person who was putting up all these signs about you're a fascist if you don't support Black Lives Matter, the organization, is coming from. Like, it must be someone's bitch of a niece. Some fat chick living in the valley.
Nice cover. It's probably the lawyer in your community, and you know it.
Yeah, it's me going out there just starting trouble. Like I don't do that already on Twitter. But speaking of which, everyone, you all need to read the Black Lives Matter website if you're still on the fence about this at all. Because if Black Lives Matter, you have to wonder, not if Black Lives Matter, if Black Lives Matter stood for what the words mean, you would have to wonder where all the opposition comes from, because everyone can get behind, yeah, Black Lives Matter. The cops shouldn't just be killing Black people. Cops shouldn't just be killing anyone. We can all agree to that.
100%.
But when you look at what Black Lives Matter stands for, what they say they stand for on their website, you're talking about deconstruction of heteronormativity, the elimination of the patriarchy, the elimination of the nuclear family unit, just for three that stand out to me. Now, here's the thing. Growing up in LA, I know a lot of Black guys. I know 0 Black guys who were like, yeah, you know what? I want to see the abolition of the family unit and all our kids turned into transsexuals. None of them are saying that because that's not a Black issue. So when people say, for instance, yeah, I don't support Black Lives Matter, they're not saying, yeah, I think the cops should be out killing Black folk who get stopped at a fucking DUI checkpoint. They're saying, I'm not a fucking communist, but you're evidently not allowed to say that.
No, you could hide behind a name, right? Like if you create an organization that says, I love babies, right?
Yeah.
But you go around like...
That sounds like a pro-choice campaign if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, but you go around like euthanizing people, right? Like it doesn't gel. Like, but you can hide. But what, you don't love babies?
Yeah.
Like
every kid deserves a hug. That's our slogan. That's our fucking organization. Every kid deserves a hug. On the face, we're going to say that no kid should go without loving physical contact. But really, we're just a front for NAMBLA. That's what we're talking about here, man. We're talking about people who are hiding behind a name, hiding this very insidious ideology behind a name, and you're not even allowed to criticize it or even point out what they themselves say they stand for without being accused of being a racist and a Nazi. And, you can only call people Nazis so much before they actually start wearing jack boots and Hugo Boss. So people need to be very fucking careful.
Hugo Boss.
Hugo Boss designed all the SS uniforms.
Oh, damn it! Now I'm glad I don't own any. Well, Peacock, I've got a couple super chats for you that I want to get to before you have to buzz out.
Sure, I got another 25 minutes.
Sure, let me hit these real quick. RZQDW says, your boy Soban is knocking it out of the park with the cutie. And he's got a date on Saturday. She's cuter than his ex, too. With luck, quarantine will stop sucking soon. Well, if it's still... Well, it'll still suck if you know what I mean. So that's an update from Soban.
Congratulations, Soban. Very happy to hear that.
Gabriel Eving says, Peacock, my dude, I told my buddy that an increase in the strength of government is how tyranny happened. He asked for citations. I listed every dictatorship known. Apparently the fact I did that says more about me than the government.
What does your friend think tyranny means? Does he think it means a weak government imposing its will forcibly on the people? Your friend is a word I'm not allowed to say, but it ends with tar.
Don't get banned.
Yeah. Don't.
Your friend has a suboptimal IQ. Let's just say that.
Oh my goodness! Now he's talking. Now he's an IQ realist. Everybody ban him.
Oh yeah.
No, it's of course, stronger government leads to tyranny. Always, always, always. But these people think tyranny comes from the people. That tyranny is just like, hey, I don't like that. You tyrant. Wait, I don't have any power. Just a person.
That's not what tyranny means, you morons. This is another issue of the state has abdicated its role of educating. I mean, maybe it shouldn't have had that role anyway. But insofar as we're going to have public schools, they owe us the duty of teaching children the truth, not ideology. And the truth involves definitions of words.
Do you ever read the Above the Law blog?
The last one I read was when that absolute hero told Mercury Insurance that he was, I forget what he said, but like he threatened to come down opposing counsel's throat or something like that.
Yeah. That guy was awesome.
That guy's a hero. But no, not since law school regularly.
I'm gonna go through one a little bit later today when I'm just screaming. And it was about the recent decision in Montana. Did you see the Montana thing where they have a tax credit program where if you pay a tuition scholarship, they will credit you dollar for dollar or tax credit you dollar for dollar up to a certain amount. And they tried to exclude religious schools. It's a private school tuition scholarship. So if I want a scholarship, I guess you to go to a private school because you're still not graduated from high school, and you want to go to a Catholic school, the Montana government said that my tuition scholarship to you could not be tax credited. But if you went to a secular private school, it could be. And
so what's really nuts to me is that's coming out of Montana, right? Like that must have been the brainchild of some dipshits out of Missoula. Yeah,
I was very surprised to see that. But so then the religious organizations in the state challenged it. It went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, no, that's discrimination based on the free exercise of religion. Because that's kind of what it sounds like. And the Above the Law blog guy was menstruating about the fact that it violates the establishment clause, apparently, because allowing an equal treatment of tax credits somehow violates the Virginia statute that basically Jefferson's statute that basically created separation of church and state. And the model, it's the model of the establishment clause, I guess.
So this is why, just hearing what this article is about, this is why you should always be careful when someone says they're a lawyer, but they're not actually employed in the practice of law. If someone says he's a lawyer, but he writes for a blog, he's a dimwit and not a good lawyer. Don't listen to him.
It was infuriating because I'm reading this. I'm like, that's not what they're doing. You're talking about in Virginia in 1786 when this statute is passed, and they're talking about specifically levying a tax on people and then saying, well, you can give it to whatever church you want. It's like, wait, there wasn't a system of taxation and appropriation that we have now where everybody's income tax that comes only 112 years later or whatever. So it's like they're imposing a specific tax to support the state. Yes, Madison and Jefferson were opposed to that. That has nothing to do with the fact that you can get a freaking tax credit for paying for someone to get private education.
Also, I really like the idea that this dipshit thought, he really honestly believed, because he was on law review in law school, that he's thought of an argument that neither side of the litigants to this case, nor the Supreme Court, nor the Supreme Court's research staff thought of. But he is handing down wisdom as manna from heaven on Above the Law, the blog where they wrote about how in my law school we had to change the name of our law prom because a 2L got shit-faced and got into a fight with a bouncer. That's the kind of brilliant legal commentary you're getting from Above the Law.
It's garbage. Ethan Amante says, hi, Mr. Peacock, looking into expanding my book collection. What public domain or classic books do you recommend?
All right. So number one, just
Dan,
public domain.
You can answer too if you've got any.
Public domain?
Yeah, public domain or classics. Domain. He said classics.
Or classics. Go for sure, the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe. I love those. Public domain. Complete works of H.P. Lovecraft. Public domain.
Racist.
The Greek classics. Yeah, the Greek classics are spectacular. Start with the Iliad and the Odyssey. And you don't really need much else. Like wait.
Come on. Let's go for the guttural human side with Mark Twain.
Yeah, Mark Twain too. Shit, I forgot about that. Mark Twain is the great American author. If you want to understand America as it was before FDR ruined it, Mark Twain is your guy.
I will only read the expurgated version of Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, where they replaced the word with robot.
I'm not even talking about those. I'm talking like the one something about lying, and then the Yankee, the New York Yankee and King Arthur's Court, like all that shit.
Pudd'nhead Wilson, those are all brilliant. Yeah. But if you have money to spend on things that are not the classics, not the public domain, I think everyone listening right now should read Bronze Age Mindset by Bronze Age Pervert. Anything you can find by Delicious Tacos, and Architecture of Harassment. All of those are wonderful books. Also, you can get some amazing history books that you can't find anywhere, published by Mystery Grove Publishing. They do an excellent version of Storm of Steel by Ernst Younger, and also some really spectacular books by Peter Kemp, who was first a British volunteer in the Civil War fighting for Franco as opposed to the communists. There's like 3 people who did that. And then after the Spanish Civil War, he was a British special operator fighting the Nazis. And they just released that book as well. All of those I strongly recommend, starting with Bronze Age Mindset by Bronze Age Pervert.
I have a suggestion because the books you just mentioned, let's say there's a funnel, right? Mm-hmm. And the capacity is like a fire hose. What you're saying is like, pour a fucking fire hose down the funnel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I recommend a book that will open the funnel. It's called the Einstein factor by Dr. Win Wenger. It will open the funnel so the fire hose can be blasted through.
All right, yeah, you do that. Do what Mr. Frege said.
And speaking of opening the funnel and blasting through, I have a true. Since you guys are out here bringing up scholarly works, I have a scholarly
Terrible
work.
Introduction.
I have a scholarly work to share. It's this. It's larger than life, defeating the challenge of your giant penis.
Wow.
By Mark Cover.
I can't believe I hadn't heard of that in my giant dick club that I'm a part of.
Thank God I wear Crocs.
Oh, rackets, you fucking degen. Okay.
The guy, Mark Cover, the author, sent that to me a while back. I need to actually read it because I've skimmed through some of it and it's just riotous. Strong recommend. Okay, let's see. We'll do that later. And Sakaki Onsai says, so Mr. Frege got censored because of arse. The Kiwis seem to want to see Nick's tatas. What's next? Demand for Mr. Peacock's plumage. Crazy world. By the way, remember that Miss Maxwell did not excise herself tomorrow. Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine? Yeah, she's definitely not dying from COVID. Whatever you say, if she comes down with COVID and tragically dies, it was not COVID. That is a lie.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for her to expire.
Anything where she's left the building is a lie.
Yeah. Oh, she hung herself and broke her own neck with toilet paper, just like the last guy.
Right.
Yeah, we don't believe that. Can we just start?
Choked on chewing gum.
We're holding her in the same cell as Epstein. No.
In the men's block? Yeah.
It was a mistake. Everybody was asleep. We don't know what happened. Her thing isn't tomorrow, though. Her thing is on the 14th. It was going to be on the 9th, but it got moved to the 14th, I believe. I don't...
The hitman is on vacation.
He's busy.
Needs a little extra time.
He's going through that book of 1,500 names and calling them all first. No, I don't know why. Something to do with... It was set to be an in-person appearance, I think, but the court asked to move it to a video conference appearance, and the defense counsel said they were trying to get a hold of her, and it took them a couple extra days to get a hold of her in the detention center. And once they did, she agreed, but they wouldn't be ready by the 9th, but they would be ready by the 14th or something, is what I read. But I have no context.
Yeah, it all sounds like bullshit to me. I don't know. I just want to point out, someone said this on Twitter, that Alan Dershowitz is secretly a genius. For those of you who may not know, when she got arrested, we all know why she got arrested. Everyone that she was connected to stayed silent, except Alan Dershowitz, who like 5 minutes later had an op-ed on CNN or the New York Times or something talking about the Ghislaine I know. And he was like, yeah, I mean, the first time I met her, I was hanging out with, who was it? Like, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Prince Andrew was there, and all these other rich and famous people whose names I definitely know and have on a list somewhere. That's the implication, that if I die is going to be released. Like, he's the only one who came out and said, hey, you guys can't kill me, you morons, because if I do, you're all getting there.
Didn't he also, wasn't he the guy who came out and said, I hope they videoed everything because I know I'm not in any video and I waive my privacy right to any video that I might be in of Epstein. So basically, like, you guys know that I have somehow been associated with him, but I'm not though. I think
he might have said that. Yeah,
I was pretty sure.
Oh, here's another fucking thing that's killing me.
Yeah.
What? No, just last week. I know we were talking about this over the group chat, but last week, one of Epstein's victims, her civil lawyers, got a whole bunch of his records that showed who else that was incriminating to people who had gone to Pedo Island. And the judge ordered all those records to be destroyed by the civil lawyers.
No big deal. That's what happens.
Yeah, no. Right, exactly. Her reasoning was that, well, those records were obtained solely for the civil trial and they weren't used, so they're not public records, so they need to be destroyed. Now, that's not good reasoning, because we're not talking about some private information like a guy's social security number or insurance documents. We're talking about the identities of people who raped little girls in sex trafficking rings. That's something that the public interest strongly demands, overriding whatever procedural rules of evidence you can be talking about. So that judge also, actually, I'm not going to say the judge should be hanged. I am not saying that. Do not hang judges. But in some societies, a judge who covers so obviously for an elite pedophile ring with no real justification and not caring at all for the public interest or these poor victims, these young girls who were sex trafficked onto pedo fucking island, a judge who cares more for procedure and rules of evidence than the very real lives that were destroyed and the very real harm that poses to our society and our democracy and legal system in general.
But that's not
in some societies, such a judge would be hanged. I'm just saying that.
That's not even procedure or rule of evidence. Like what FRE section says, by the way, destroy the evidence?
Right, exactly. Oh, hey, you know what, Your Honor? Fine. You destroy the evidence. I'm hanging on to it, and I'm taking this up on a writ. And, oh, damn, you know, it's really weird. My plumber, who I called in to fix a leaky sink, all my files went missing. And, now the New York Times has them. Wasn't there a case just like this with the Pentagon Papers? And didn't they just say, oh, that's not anybody's fault? Well, yeah, fuck you, Your Honor. Your Honor.
What if we're all wrong about Epstein anyway? What if his killing, he was actually just the next guy to Me Too Kevin Spacey? Maybe that.
And Kevin Spacey used his powers from K-Pax to move at the speed of light and killed him there, and then moved right back out and ate a banana. Yeah, I remember that movie.
You're the only one. No, but seriously, like, can we ever? Because Kevin Spacey's in the Epstein stuff. He's in there. Can we talk about the fact that everybody who accused Kevin Spacey all died, like within 12 months of it? Like all of them, except for Anthony Rapp or whatever, the actor from Rent. He's still alive, but he's the only one. And his accusation was kind of just pretty lukewarm anyway. And everybody's like, wait, you were 14 at a Hollywood party by yourself? What's wrong with your parents?
Well, his days are counted, right? Like his days are numbered. It's like 365 days.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like 525,599 minutes.
Yeah.
one down every
days
time.
are numbered, bro.
Yeah. Let's see. Felipe Movie says 4K subs is a lot. This is to you, Dan. He says, look at Nick. He bought 84,000 subs a few years ago and is still at the same numbers. I blame the haircut and his toxicity. That's true. That's true. I'm actually, announcement. I'm going to be moving live streams off of this channel. Like the live stream will occur on this channel, and there will be an archive channel for the live streams that's going to go up because they do absolutely kill channel growth.
Do they really?
Yeah, because people, I think the problem is you do like a great like 10 or 15 minute video and it brings in a lot of subscribers and they're like, oh, this is cool. I like this guy. And then they click on a live stream. And they're like 5 hours.
Right. Right.
I don't have time for that.
So yeah, because I know that Star Wars girl, Anna, she does that. She does her live stream. It gets all processed. That she then takes it and moves it over to an archive.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
So that's what I'm gonna be doing, probably starting by the end of this week, and it's gonna start with newer videos, and then I'll slowly move back through the older ones.
But, I'm gonna do that with my brand new channel. You know, I've got no videos. So I'm going to start putting new videos on, and then my live stuff, I'm going to start an archive, and it's just going to be neat and clean.
Yeah, and
thumbnails, new branding, all that good shit.
By the way, guys, I've got Dan's new channel in the description. I know Angry Baneling is pimping it in the in the chat. Make sure you go subscribe to it. Wholesome content, lots of ass titty that belongs, not any of the perv ass titty that does not belong. That people get away with.
It's solid stuff that you would see in like an 80s movie that was rated PG. You know what I mean? Like when we were kids, we would see a movie and we go, yeah, cool, but you know what I mean? Like it was nothing crazy. Like our moms would be like, okay, kid, get that butt, you know, like enjoy the movie.
Good job, son.
I've been watching a lot of 80s movies lately on Twitch. And specifically to illustrate the fact that like casual boobs were just a part of every 80s action and horror movie. All of them.
100%. Porky's, Airplane.
Caddyshack had full frontal nudity in the pool scene.
Yeah.
Like that chick was not wearing a bikini bottom either.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
Exactly.
God bless them. God, boobs make it.
There's even breasts
Ladies, if you have nice boobs, DM me, please.
There's even breasts in Invasion USA. Chuck Norris. Hashtag wholesome. And I've been going through and watching it. It just my mind is just blown by what we've lost in entertainment by becoming prudes on this idea of there's not even like nudity in a movie today has to have a purpose and a meaning and symbolism. It's like, wait, no. It's just sometimes chicks
There's this thing called a prurient interest, and that's what we're appealing to.
Chicks just hang around naked in locker rooms talking to each other. That's just how they do. I know this for a fact. That's just what it is. And I want to go back to those days. But we're, again, it's the inverse test. And this is what I was kind of alluding to with how that applies to your channel, is if you had dudes in Speedos and then bare-chested dudes all over the place, you wouldn't be censored ever.
No.
Like, why?
Well, here's why I think it is. And I got 2 more minutes and I got to go.
Yeah.
I think it's because all the people who are moderating YouTube's banning, like the people who are reviewing the algorithms, are like 22-year-old NYU grads who are fat chicks and wear problematic glasses that are like pointy on the side, like a 1950s beehive.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah, like the Monsters Inc. They're the ones making decisions. Right, precisely. So they see a hot chick, they see a hot chick's ass titties on your channel, and they immediately get threatened on a primal, visceral level. And so they want to get rid of that. They don't want people to be attracted to girls that are infinitely superior physical specimens than they are, because it makes them feel bad. If this were like, I don't know, a Calvin Klein model, or, well, what Calvin Klein models used to be before they were all fat people.
Before they're just a giant.
Right, yeah, like an Abercrombie and Fitch model, like one of those guys in a Speedo. They would say, this is great. More people need to be looking at this because I want to look at this. And if every man looked like that, I could have a man like that without having to not be fat and disgusting and eat Halo Top ice cream. Which, by the way,
is that good?
I don't know. Halo Top ice cream is like the 300 calories a pint ice cream. They have a new YouTube ad. You should all watch it. It's just a fat woman dancing in her underwear eating Halo Top ice cream.
That's
cool
the
I don't
worst
know what
ad I've ever heard of.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I don't know what they thought they were, who they were appealing to, what message they were trying to send. But the message that sends is Halo Top, ice cream for fat bitches who don't want to lose weight. But that's not even a good message. That's not even on brand, because Halo Top is a diet ice cream for people who are trying to eat ice cream without gaining weight. Right.
For real?
So, yeah. So if this were like Haagen-Dazs or some shit that, 1,500 calories a pint, and it were a fat woman dancing around, that would make more sense than diet ice cream. Right. But
yeah, shouldn't you have a thin hot chick dancing around with the Halo Top? Like that.
Right, exactly. Like, hey, Halo Top, implicitly, you're going to be a hot chick.
They've got to have the fat lady dancing with the Haagen-Dazs without the actual wording on there, just the logo, right?
Yeah.
And then next to it, the skinny chick doing a mirrored exact same dance with the Halo Top. That's the ad.
Oh God, there's so much. There's such an opportunity here for like Enlightened, the low carb ice cream, to do that just by themselves already. Like a few years ago, Pepsi and Coke ran the exact same ad around Halloween. It was like a Coke can wearing Pepsi as a cape, and the Pepsi ad said, "Huh?"
I said, "Oh shit."
Yeah, pretty much. The Pepsi ad said like everyone wants to be a superhero sometimes, and the Coke ad was the same picture but just saying, "Isn't Halloween scary?" Some shit like that. Right? This is their opportunity to throw it back and corner the market.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, I'm sorry guys, I got to go to bed. I wish I could stay longer and keep yelling, but it was great meeting you, Dan. Yeah, everyone go subscribe to Dan's channel. This guy is clearly a class act, and thanks for having me, guys.
Peace, buddy.
Be well.
Peace.
I love watching the people like look for the hang up button before they get out. Well, thanks for that. For entertaining Mr. Peacock. He's a good dude.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah. So what's going on, man? I saw, like, speaking of good things, I saw Black Flag topped out over 150K.
Yeah, we're at 170 right now, almost 171.
Nice. So guys, you can still buy it, right? It's on
we're in demand. There's going to be a couple of new items in there pretty soon. We're going to keep the store open probably till maybe mid-September, and then after that we're going to close it up and start fulfilling and get in there. They're going to see some ravenous deaths. We're going to kill you.
Good.
We're going to kill a couple other folks. It's going to be a good time, but
I'm going to file a complaint with Indiegogo about your violently killing me is a threat.
Yeah, you should.
See how that goes.
Yeah, no, it's so funny during your stream. My wife, she's upstairs and she generally doesn't see, like, she didn't watch my show. She didn't know anything about it. And she's like, "Ding, they're saying your channel is gone." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "But you work so hard," and I was like, "But I'm okay." It's like, "Yeah, but you were so excited about, getting 1,000. So this is like back in January. You're so excited about getting 1,000 subscribers." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Everything's fine." I'm of the mind now, I've been doing tons of diagnostics on my channel and getting great advice from people about, like, hey, you need to unify your thumbnails and you need to, like, make things good. And I'm like, I've got like 300 videos and I'm overwhelmed, right? I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do this? And then but now it's like literally a blank slate, right? And I'm going, well, that sucks, because like getting the 1,000 subscribers was difficult. But like I said, that 4,000 hours is the real hard part. Getting people to come on and want to see it.
What you need to do for that 4,000 hours.
Yeah.
Take it from me for what it's worth is do a couple long live streams with some people, me, Ethan, whoever, and because just having those, if you can get 1,000 people on a live stream for 4 hours, you've got it. So you do a couple of those shows as a big sort of comeback event once you get the channel like up and running, and I would love to join in on that. I appreciate that, man. And help out.
You're a good dude.
We'll rally people and get on there and just have a good, fun, classy stream where people can hang out. There's no super chats or anything, so it's all just
that's okay. The thing that bums me out is I have one of my tiers on my membership is I get stickers made, right?
Yeah.
I got these holographic Incredible Comics stickers. I got these Black Flag stickers. Fortunately, I've got somebody that helps me run it, and he's got all the addresses, and I can get these out. But those like all of those super chats and all the money I make from the channel, I put right back into the channel. You know, it's like I upgraded my StreamYard. I bought something called Wirecast, which is what news you know, all these news productions use to do their productions. It's an OBS on steroids. So I've been learning that, and, you know, like all those things afford that. But at the end of the day, it's really spreading the word. Like my channel, the description of my channel says, this channel is dedicated to illuminating and empowering creativity in others through example. Right. I want people that are on the fence or that are frustrated creators to know that there's somebody out there like them. I interviewed several guests that are just like them, that all come from different walks of life, that I'm hoping that some kid in Wichita will see one of these interviews and be so stoked. And even though his grandma said, keep dreaming, kid, this channel is the thing that made him break through, and he's like the next Jack Kirby or something. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what my channel is about. So for me, that's the hard part. Super chats, whatever. I mean, it's cool. It's some income, but like,
well, I was saying it as that's the neat thing about doing those early streams is you don't have the super chat function. Okay. So everybody's just there kind of jiving and going, and it's just a kind of a fun thing. And there's not that sort of mechanic going on, which at times can kind of derail a stream. It depends on how you manage them, of course. But I
watch the best. I watch the best. No, you know who's really good at it is Ethan's really fantastic. He has a cadence where, you know, he does a little bit of this, a little bit of that, goes into super chats. You know, I learned a lot from him, learned a lot from Anna, you know, going into the YouTube studio, keeping that where your super chats are, because different, whether it's StreamYard, whether it's an OBS, whether it's Wirecast, they chew up those comments and you can't go back into them. But being able to do that is good. But, you know, it'll be fun. It'll be super raw. You know, it'll be super raw. But again, like, I always see everything as a blessing. That's the thing. Like, you know, my lady is like, "Are you okay? You know, I know you worked hard, and like, are you okay?" And it's like, yeah, you know what, I am. I like, if my world was wrapped around it, it would be devastating, but it's not. Like, my kids are okay. Right. I'm healthy. I'm fine. It's a YouTube channel. It's my platform. It's all good. But guess what, man? The network is awesome. You're here saying you'll help me. I know Ethan will help me. Twitter is out there going, can you believe this? You know, hitting YouTube, tagging YouTube on it. Who knows? Maybe they'll just reinstate the other one. That would be fantastic. If not, the opportunity, like I said, is I started a channel at zero. I have zero content on there. Starting tomorrow, one new video. There'll be a new video. I'll live stream. I'll do what you're talking about, create an archive one, and this will be the cleanest, leanest, meanest thing I can create. And that's how I see it. I'm not mad at it. You know, The universe doesn't do anything. You know, you as a lawyer probably see crazy injustices, but a lot of those things, especially the ones that you have to work hard for, don't have precedences. And that is how we stretch out the universe. That's how we create new landscapes. You know, I was talking to Ethan about him hitting 1 million, right? It's nobody had done that, like not in the time he did it, especially nobody on Indiegogo. And there was an interesting phenomenon that had happened with the 4-minute mile, right? For hundreds of years of recorded time, nobody had done a 4-minute mile.
And then that one Brit dude comes out.
He does one, and then a flood of 4-minute miles happen after that, right? Yeah. That's because the universe has been expanded at that point. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the universe had been expanded to accommodate for that. So challenges are great. I'm a big fan of challenges, and the universe is never wrong. I'm not saying I'm doing some 4-minute mile shit. I'm just saying as far I'm not equating that in any way. So these are apples and oranges. What I'm trying to say is that all things happen for a reason, and I'm not mad. I'm not even like, if it all goes to shit, I will never feature ass titty in that way on my channel again. Lesson learned. Okay. At worst case. But at the end of the day, I see it as like, okay, cool. Let's do it again. You know, like when I was a kid, I used to draw all the time. And the only regret I have as a kid is I was really fuming upset. I was like super, super mad at my dad. This was like 1986. And I used to keep this box of all my drawings. 86, I was almost 13. Tons of drawings, tons of comic book drawings, tons of characters. I was so mad, I went into that box and I fucking shredded them because I was mad, okay? I mean, I was fuming mad. I have one drawing that survived from that shred because it only got half ripped. It's of this team I created called the U-Men. It was like a fucking X-Men ripoff, right? The Unusual Men. The Unusual Men. That's what U-Men meant, you know? But I also look at it as like, nah, this is step one, you know, let's start over. Let's go. You know, I can't go back. I can't erase that shit. I can't fix it. This is a new beginning. Let's go for it. So I'm not mad. Hopefully people will follow the journey, but who knows? I mean, maybe of those 4,000 people, maybe only, you know, 500 of them were regulars, you know, and that's what I want. I want regulars. Right.
I think along that vein, there was a really famous writer, and it was either, I think it was Emerson. I want to say Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Yeah.
And I'm probably getting the identity wrong, but it was someone of his caliber, either Emerson, Thoreau, and they worked at a newspaper. And one of the guys who worked with them would see him, and he would sit down, he'd write out something on a piece of paper and just crumple it up and throw it in the garbage. And one day this guy goes up to the garbage can during a lunch break or whatever, and he opens it up, and it was a character layout, right? And he's like, this character was the most complex and beautiful character that he's ever seen, far beyond anything he could write. And he asked the guy about it, and he's like, you just wrote brilliance down, you threw it away. And he's like, yeah, but you know, that's just an exercise, and there's another one coming. Yeah. And that's the nature of creation, right? Like
100%.
If you get married to an individual creation, you see this with amateur creators. They have this one idea, and it's the greatest idea you know, ever, and they're expanding it and they're working on it, and it's great, and they put all of their time and soul into it, and then something happens and that idea gets devastated. Either it just gets flat out rejected because someone else is like, well, this really wasn't good enough, or they lose it in, you know, some sort of accident, and then their whole creative persona is gone. It was put into this thing, and they're not able to get around that loss, and they're not able to move and adapt and make things new. You have to, on occasion, you have to shuffle things up, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're talking about comes from a mindset, you know, like number one, you have to be familiar with loss, you know, like it's so funny you did that. I did that the other day with my whiskey.
I do it every time.
I was like, Nick Rekieta does it. What the fuck? I get it. You don't want to waste that drop. You know?
No, it's important. This is I've got this the Whistle Pig Boss Hog.
Oh, I saw that one. How is that?
It's magnificent.
Yeah.
It's by far the best rye whiskey I've ever had. It's pricey.
Yeah, well, that's like at least mine was over 2.
This is $4.80.
Holy shit!
So yeah, it was.
Yeah, okay.
It was expensive.
Maybe they're a little higher price where I'm or where you're at versus mine. I remember it being more like $400, $399-ish. But dude, well, I showed you that picture. Those Wellers that I got.
Yeah,
I got those for $29, man.
What?
Yes, he's like, oh, I got these in. And I was like, holy fuck. He didn't even have them on the high shelf. I was like, he's like, I got 3 bottles. I said, no, you have no bottles. And I grabbed all of them. Yeah. But going back to the idea of loss, right? Number one, like you said, the newer creators, and not even newer, but like, I don't even want to say amateur creators, people that have one idea. You can't just have one idea. You have to have a creative mind. That's number one. Number two, you have to be familiar with loss. And perhaps this is just me, and maybe we're going back to the whole thing where I was talking about earlier when Peacock was here. But one of the things that I do that helps me manage any situation is I literally abstract everything. You know, when I lost my mother, my uncle, my best friend, my grandpa, all of my grandparents, like I've had a lot of loss as far as people in my life, right? And you deal with loss in different ways. And for me, a lot of those hurt. Losing a YouTube page doesn't feel like losing my mom. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I don't know. I go, okay, it's such a, yes, it was a lot of hard work. Yes, there's a lot of fun shit on there, but in the grand scheme of things, in the abstract of things, like I said, my kids are good. I'm good. My health is okay. I see a surgeon on Thursday for this hernia, you know. I'm excited. That shit sucks. My recommendation to you is don't get a hernia, and don't get it. If anybody offers you a hernia, you say no. And if anybody offers you a kidney stone, you say no. Those are the 2 things that has happened to me over this last spring.
Not to get too personal, but like an abdominal hernia or inguinal.
It's right near my nuts. It's right here. I feel like all day, every day. I feel like, I know you've been hitting the balls. Every man has that. It's not the initial pain. It's that sort of tightness that you feel for like a half hour after a nut kick.
Yeah.
I feel that 24/7.
God.
On it. Yeah. Oh. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to hurt you.
No.
But like, I'm feeling it right now. Right.
Yeah.
But it's been so ever present, and certain things agitate it. Like when my 1-year-old decides she wants to stomp on it when I'm holding her, you know, things like that.
Damn kids.
Yeah. But I get to see a surgeon on Thursday who's going to say, yeah, let's schedule this thing. So yeah, I'm so excited. Like, I've never been more excited to have someone cut me open and fix me, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm excited about that shit.
Damn. Oh, that sucks. I'm glad that's at least looking up for you, because that's rough. That's rough.
It's no fun.
You got to go in with your just some headphones dangling, but on like way too loud so the doctor can hear it, and just be playing Weird Al's "Living with a Hernia."
Living with a hernia. I love both of those songs, man. On the topic, but not on the topic. The very first famous person I ever met that I wanted to meet. I know that's very specific, because I met what was the astronaut's name? Was it John Glenn or Scott Glenn? John Glenn. I met John Glenn when I was a kid. He did an opening for this arcade, right? It was like an arcade grand opening featuring an astronaut.
Let's get an astronaut there. That makes sense.
Space themed. It was like intergalactic arcade. So of course they got an astronaut, like a guy who's been in space, to like do the promo. And my dad's like, we got to go. Yeah. I was like, okay, he's an astronaut. That's great. I didn't know who the fuck he was. But the very first guy that was a celebrity that I was just like, yo, I gotta meet him. I was 12 years old. This was 85, 86. Mm-hmm. My town, Martinez, in Contra Costa, the one that we were just talking about, Contra Costa County,
right,
used to have a jail. And it was an old jail, and they had a new jail. The old jail was empty. And there's a movie called Tucker by Francis Ford Coppola with Jeff Bridges in it.
Sure.
They filmed in my town. The courthouse scene, they filmed in front of the courthouse, right? Very cool. Mm-hmm. They used the old jail for this show called Fortune Dane, and it featured Carl Weathers, right? Carl Weathers, a.k.a. Apollo Creed.
Right.
And my mom worked in the building next door to the old jail, And she's like, there's some film crew for action, some action show called Fortune Dane. I was like, wait, Carl Weathers. Oh my God, no way. So I grabbed here's where it comes full circle. Okay. Yeah. I grabbed my Rocky IV soundtrack with the Vince DiCola and all that shit on it, and the burning heart, all those
yes.
And, I got Carl Weathers. I waited outside of the set for 5 hours. He came out. He was the nicest dude. Hey, young man. Hey, yeah. Oh, sure. I'll sign your album. So whenever I hear Living in America, I always think of Carl Weathers and what a straight up dude he is.
And you're always like, Dylan, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. How are you? I see Washington has you pushing too many pencils.
That's a good Arnold, man.
I love that documentary. It's very good. It portrays me. Everybody who survived got a governorship. Jesse Ventura, he got governor. I got governor. Carl Weathers, he lost his hand. He cannot be governor. Dude, I love that movie. We my friends and I, we used to mock that movie and say it was a documentary.
Yeah. It is one.
It is a documentary. It's just
it's a joke telling documentary too.
It is. Hey, the big as a house. Why'd you say that twice? I didn't. It was an echo. Shane Black, dude. Shane Black writes a good yarn, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, I love that movie. Die Hard. Love Die Hard, man. I love Die Hard 3, though, I think, the most.
Oh, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, my favorite line in that whole movie is like, hey, Jesus, why you keep calling me that? Because the guy called you that, Jesus. He said, hey, Zeus. Like, throw a lightning bolt down your motherfucking ass, Zeus.
Oh, God. Yeah, I loved... Die Hard 3 is one of the few movies where I liked the sequel, I think, more. I mean, I think Die Hard 1 is probably a better movie, but Die Hard 3 is just adrenaline fun the entire time. And John McClane just has a hangover and a bad fucking headache, man, all day. And all he's trying to do is get some damn aspirin.
Yeah. Jeremy Irons was hilarious in that movie, too, his accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm trying to remember the plot. They blew up a bunch of shit so they could go underneath to get the gold.
Yeah, it was all a distraction to rob the Federal Reserve building in New York.
That's right.
And steal the gold, and then they pretended to blow it up because they were a terrorist separatist group, and they blew up a bunch of scrap iron on the boat, and they're actually smuggling the gold out secretly. And
that's right.
And Jeremy Irons throwing the aspirin to John McClane was actually what cracked the case, because it had his pharmacy, on the bottle, and so they were able to track him down. God, great movie.
That's a Deus Machina if I ever heard one, though.
I saw the worst one. The worst Deus Ex Machina I've ever seen was we watched it on stream the other day. It was God, what was that movie called? It was an 80s movie about aliens that came down, and they were taking sexy teens to steal their blood, right? It was completely gratuitous. Amazing. It was John Carradine. Amazing. Hold on, I've got to find this
sounds
movie.
Great. This is going on my pull list.
It had Ginger from Gilligan's Island in it. But it was in the 80s, so she was a little old. What was this thing called?
I met Dawn Wells a couple years ago, Marianne.
Yeah,
and she looked fantastic. So,
yeah, I've noticed that about her. Evils of the Night is the movie.
Yeah, that sounds like an 80s schlockfest.
It was so funny. It's great. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But the ending, everybody in the movie is completely useless. All the women are useless, and I'm screaming the whole time. Because these two women get abducted along with the guy, and the two women, first of all, they're shutting the guy down the whole time. He's trying to get in one of them's pants, and she and the other girl just shutting him down the entire time. His name's Brian. And they're like, yeah, Brian, we'd be with you. And then of course she's talking to the girl, and she's like, you know what? If Brian came in here, and climbed on top of me, I wouldn't stop him. But they're shutting him down, making him sleep in a different place. They all get abducted together, and I'm like, you gotta let Brian out. He's your only chance against these guys. Brian's like in shape. He's probably 18, 20 years old, big muscular guy. And the two guys who got him are these old mechanic dudes. And you're like, just get Brian. And the women won't do it ever. But of course, when they free Brian, he's useless. And he doesn't save anybody. And then as the aliens are taking off, just a laser comes down from space and kills the bad guy, saving them.
What?
And it's like,
no way.
That's how you end it? That was the
So somebody been watching the thing the whole time.
Yeah.
Some laser holding dude or alien had been watching the whole thing. Now, I have a question for you, because I have a decent memory. It's a visual memory, right? And over your left shoulder, next to the barrel, there was something there before.
Yeah, it's a Mortal Kombat arcade machine.
That's what I remember. What happened? Where's it at?
We just moved it out because we got two more. It's those mini arcades, the one-up arcade machines. We got the Ninja Turtles one, and we got the one with Final Fight, 1944, Ghosts and Goblins, and Strider. And so we made like a little arcade area for the kids.
That's rad. You need a Galaga, dude.
Galaga would be good. I want them to do like Dig Dug and Centipede, because I've seen that machine. The local like pizza place has a Dig Dug, Galaga, Centipede machine. It's like, just put that out so I can get that.
You know what? If in California there was a place called Game City, but you can find them. Like every city has one. I paid. I got it at the county fair at the time, and the place was called Game City. It's a cocktail style game. Originally, when I bought it in 2010, it had 60 games and a CRT monitor in it. It was pretty heavy. Some kids came over for one of my kids' parties and like pushed the joystick so hard that it broke the component.
Yeah.
Like they jammed it down, right? Like it was like some bullshit. So I had to get it repaired, and the guy said, "Hey, with this repair, for a little bit of extra money, we can swap out the CRT, put an LCD in, and we'll take your 60 ROM and put 460 in it. 460 is 460 games, right?
Yeah.
Dude, it cost me like an extra like $160. Like the total repair was like $500 or whatever. But you can get these cocktail machines like the ones you see at the pizzeria that have a control on each side with
and they're the table.
It's a table. For about $1,000, and it's got all the games, and you can play 2-player head to head. So you can have your cups of the red frosted cup, the plastic red pizza cup.
Yeah,
have that, a slice that's got grease coming through the paper plate. And just go to town on Miss Pac-Man or some shit.
If I remember right, doesn't the glass of the table come over where you have your hand for the controller? Is that how that works?
Mine looks like when you look down on mine, it looks like an H. Like the glass is cut like an H. So that controller area
it's open.
It's open.
Okay, God, I can't remember the last time I saw one of those in the wild was in like 85 or 86, and there's a little place near my daycare that had one, and I felt like it had glass that went over where the controller was, but I can't, who knows anymore. That was
go online, dude. Find one. It will make you happy. Put that in your office. That's for dad. That's for dad.
Well, I would put it up for like a coffee table in my living room.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Your kids are old enough, though. I have a 1-year-old, so
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's why we moved it out, because my kids range from 2 to 12, and then they have 4 cousins who live just like 2 miles away, and that's so cool. They come over all the time, and they're like they're a little bit closer in age. They're like 4 or 5 to 10, I think, something like that. And I'm probably getting that wrong. But anyway, they come over. So we have 9 kids. So when they get all the games turned on, they're all playing like turtles. But
wait, you have 5 kids?
I have 5, yeah. So we have.
For some reason, I thought last time we talked, I thought you said you had 3. Were you fucking like that in between last time?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Yeah, we just had 2 more. No,
you have 5 kids. I have 4, and I feel overwhelmed. You have 5.
Yeah. Well, dude, once you hit 3 is the hardest.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because that's when you're outnumbered and scrambling. And then you hit 4, and it's like, this isn't any worse than 3. When you hit 5, you just don't care about anything anymore. It's easy.
5.
And I say easy in the sense that it's just more of the same. So it's not so bad.
You're younger than I am. I'm going to gauge you're probably 10 years younger than me.
I'm 38. I'll be 39 in a couple months.
Okay, so I'm 47, so I was close.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, but you have to understand, man. My firstborn, I was 38.
Yeah.
Right, and my last one, I was almost 46. So I'm like, especially with a hernia, like chasing after that 1-year-old, you just go, fuck, man, slow down.
What you got to do is you got to adopt my style where you just sit down and go, stop.
You don't understand, man. My kids are half Puerto Rican. I
didn't say it worked.
Oh, it does not work.
I just don't get up anymore.
My kids don't listen to a damn thing, I feel like Bill Cosby, my favorite, it sucks that he's such a piece of shit, right?
Because you can't. I was going to make a joke about how you should never feel like Bill Cosby, but it's like, I know what you mean.
Yeah. The thing that sucks is like Bill Cosby himself was hands down my favorite comedy movie of all time. Of course, I love Pryor and Delirious and Raw and George Carlin and stuff, but I really love Bill Cosby himself, especially the part when he's talking about kids, and like you like there are times I look at my kids and go, dude, you have brain damage. Like, are you? I don't remember dropping you on your head. What is wrong with you? It's crazy. And of course, I'm also the same dad. Dad, give us cake. Dad is great. Give us chocolate cake. I'm that dad. Chocolate cake for breakfast. I'm that dad. But
see that to me, that's how I became at I think 4 kids.
Yeah.
Where nowadays it's like, well, I could make a lot of dinner, or hey kids, do you want ice cream? And they don't care. Like they want ice cream, or they want ice cream. They're just not that hungry. And I stopped being. I remember my parents. It was always like, you have to eat these meals, and you have to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But of course, I grew up in a household with 2 working parents and a school schedule. So you had this thing. Well, we homeschool, and my job is in the middle of the freaking night. So I'm not up in the morning. My kids, they get up, they have whatever they want for breakfast. They kind of manage that on their own. And then once my wife and I are awake, that's our time with the kids. And our whole like schedule is non-traditional. We don't need that sort of like regimented structure. They don't have their lunch at the same time every day at a school, so they might wait on lunch while they're doing something, or we're out somewhere, and then we get back home and just have a huge dinner. So they might get.
You're gonna have to teach me the ways, man, because right now the way it is, like tomorrow is when I say it's my day, or Wednesday, it's already tomorrow. Tomorrow is my day. So this morning I got to sleep in. I just couldn't. I didn't feel like sleeping in. I woke up. But tomorrow I get baby. Yeah. Right? And baby's like it's 6 o'clock or it's 5:45 a.m. and she's punching you in the face or kicking you, and you look up at her with her sweet face, and I know she's saying GABA. She loves Yo Gabba Gabba. We have them shits on our computer, and she dances.
Yeah.
Yep. And you go, okay, well, it's my day. I got to get up now. and that's that. Like, it doesn't matter. I can, it doesn't matter if I stream till 5 a.m. I have to be up at 5:45. It doesn't fucking matter. And it leads to some exhaustion.
That's how it was for me last year.
Yeah.
But now, excuse me. Our youngest is 2, almost 3, and she's really self-sufficient for a lot of stuff. And then her siblings will take care of her, like in the morning time. Now she still comes, she wakes up and she needs to be changed. So obviously, so I get up, I change the baby, and then I go back to sleep. I might get her a little bit of breakfast if I need to, but her siblings help out with that a lot, and she's pretty good about it. But there are those days though where it's just like, Dad, get up, and I just get up. But then again, I work from home, and mostly even when I'm doing a lot, law stuff, and unfortunately with coronavirus ending, I normally wouldn't have a lot, but now I've got like 4 matters that are all going to have to take place right now. Even with that, I can take a nap in the middle of the day if I have to.
Do you have, here's the thing, and I try to explain this to my wife, but I don't know if other people experience it. Are you in a specific state of mind when you're doing your work that when you get interrupted, it's difficult to get back into that state of mind?
Yes. Okay. Especially when I'm working on legal documents, especially. So when I'm doing that, I tell my wife, and I try and arrange it with her. I'm like, and I try to do it in advance. I need this much time. I need 3 hours during the day, or 3 hours in the evening, or whatever it is, where I cannot be bothered. And she, she's a champ on that stuff. And the exchange is, if she needs to go somewhere, do something, go to a store, or go do, she does Bible studies or whatever, I'm always home with the kids. So, we partner really well on that stuff.
That's awesome. Has she hit Ecclesiastes yet?
I don't know. No, probably not. Now she's actually better than me. She's read the entire Bible cover to cover. Yeah. She did a reading plan on it. But Bible studies really stray away from Ecclesiastes and Lamentations.
Why?
Because I don't think they ask hard questions in those books.
Ecclesiastes is the best. A man that has it all. Who has all the wisdom, who's had all the riches, who basically goes like, avoid this, focus on this. Every man on this planet, it doesn't matter if it's 2020 or 1752, they're chasing after everything that King Solomon ever had, right?
Yeah.
Like everything. He had more than we can imagine. Every sheik we think about who's got like an oil baron who's got like billions that could never spend it all.
Mm-hmm.
Dude had it, right? He had all the women, and he had all the wisdom, right? He had all the wisdom of God. Smartest dude in the world. He wrote a book about life.
Yeah,
that's Ecclesiastes, right? Like, so for me, it's my favorite book in the Bible, because here's this dude who we all chase this thing, right? And here's the dude that got it all, and what he has to say about it. So that's why I asked. It's interesting shit.
It is, and that's actually kind of I like Ecclesiastes. I like Lamentations. I really like Titus as a book as well, because it deals with they're the uncomfortable parts of Christianity, or I should say of westernized American Christianity. Like Titus is great. It's only a couple pages. It's 4 chapters, I think, and Paul leaves his assistant on the island, and he says, "Hey, you've got to pick leaders of the church. By the way, here's what makes a good leader of the church."
Yeah,
and he gives a list, and if you look at that list, I challenge any believer out there to look at the list that Paul leaves in Titus, and then look at the people we look to for spiritual direction, and see if they check the boxes. And I'm talking all the way down to your local preacher. and see if they honestly check the boxes on that. And you go, oh my God, we have a list. Why doesn't, I've never gotten a Sunday lesson on Titus. And here's why. Because it's very intimidating for a pastor to have to live up to that and live up to the fact that they don't match the list.
Sure.
Especially like the fire and brimstone pastors, which kind of get really popular from time to time. Man, that Titus list doesn't look like them at all. And it certainly doesn't look like me. I'm not touting my own leadership.
No, of course not, man. I'm a terrible Christian. You know, I got listen. I got banned off of YouTube for showing butts and boobies.
Too much ass titty on YouTube. You're an Ezekiel Christian, right? Or not Ezekiel, Ecclesiastes Christian. You found all of the ass titty, and now you're sharing it with everybody else.
I did. I lived a life of ass titty. I distilled it down to the finest, and I shared it with the world. That's
that's what I've been doing. That's why we're watching these 80s schlock films on Twitch. It's almost in my own mind of justifying it, it's a commentary on Twitch, right? Because lover or hater, Alinity's herself, and I think she's relatively terrible, but she had a boob slip, which I think was entirely intentional, and she got banned for a day or whatever, and it was a big thing, and people were like, oh, she's violating Twitch's community guidelines and stuff. And first of all, it's the least attractive picture I've ever seen. It wasn't like a sexy thing at all.
Hey, listen, Nick, don't utter another word.
Why is that?
I used it as a pun, man.
Utter. Utter. Yes. Okay. See, I'm too many whiskeys in to catch it.
I'm just enough to make those jokes.
But I can go on and watch Chopping Mall and Evils of the Night, and we did Slumber Party Massacre, and these are movies with full breasts and ass on display. Also, some of them with full frontal nudity as well. Yeah. And we're doing it on Twitch, and it's like a commentary of the lunacy of all this. Is just a couple years ago, this was rated R. And some of these things are PG. Like you go back to or PG-13, or before PG-13 was PG, and you would have breasts in a PG movie.
Absolutely.
Once PG-13 came out, you had Doc Hollywood. You had Repossessed, great movie, Leslie Nielsen. PG-13 has breasts in the first 5 minutes. I
love it.
And suddenly, like we're starting to pretend that this is somehow the worst thing that could happen to anybody. That we're going back to this puritanical look at the human body.
Right? It's weird. I worked on this movie back in 2004, 2005. We ended up doing reshoots in Paris. So I was in Paris for a few months during the reshoots. Yeah. And one of the guys there, we had a discussion, and he said, why is it that you Americans like freak out over a bare breast, but it's okay to see like a machine gun turn someone into vapor?
That's my favorite scene in Rambo 4, by the way.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He turns that dude into jelly.
I call that, whenever I refer to it, I refer to it as Paul Verhoeven levels of gore. Like remember RoboCop 1, anytime someone got blasted, they just got fucking, and same thing with, was it Starship Troopers? Anytime anybody would get jacked, they would just get completely jacked. But, we're totally fine with that. But a peak of a nipple is so taboo. Where, my buddies and I, we were in Amsterdam, and a Lenny Kravitz video came on where a naked woman is like walking through the kitchen and stuff, and it's a music video on MTV in Amsterdam. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? This is awesome. Like, I thought it was great because it was bare ass, bare titties. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And over there, it's no big deal. It's art, it's art. But
it's like here, it's like the uncensored blurred lines video. It's like,
right.
I mean,
Radajowski, man, she looks great.
Right. It's a super sexy video, But that's only because mostly her is super sexy. The other two girls look fine, but I mean, she looks fine. But it's not any more sexual than the underlying video. Like the censored version is just as sexual. It's just there's nudity added, and it's like, why? I mean, at some point, what's the difference?
I think I think it goes back to our great country was formed on certain values, and one of them is the Puritan prude, that sort of cover thyself. I don't know, like that kind of bullshit. But it's so weird. Like, it's just really weird.
Yeah, I'm with it. I remember my first trip to France. I've been twice. Once with school, and on the school trip, there wasn't a lot of TV time. There was just running around Paris without supervision time, which was great. But the time I went before, my whole family went, and we stayed with a family, and I had my own room, and there was a TV, and I was young. I would have been between 7th and 8th grade. And I remember turning on the TV at night, and there weren't that many channels. They didn't have cable or anything like that. It was just the regular channels. And I mean, there is full on nudity. And it was a great time to be alive. But it was just nothing. Like, it's just part of their TV programming. And then I've been to Hawaii a couple times, and I've been to Tahiti once. And that's the difference between Hawaii and Tahiti, in a way, is when you get off the plane in Tahiti, at the airport store and at every store, there's the Women of Tahiti calendar, which is nudes. Yeah, and in Hawaii, it's like, okay, these are both Polynesian cultures going on, and it's the exploitation of the Polynesian culture specifically that's happening. You can find the Women of Hawaii calendar too, but they're covered. And it's like it's the difference between France and America, or that the sort of French idea versus American idea.
Isn't that weird? Now, tell me that you brought back a memory for me. Yeah. And I don't know, because you and my younger brother are about the same age. Do you remember butter knifing your cable box?
No, I never did that.
Okay, yeah. Anytime, like Playboy Channel, right? We would stick the butter knife in the back, and we could get the Playboy Channel where it would kind of do the scan lines, and we would sit and watch the Playboy Channel like this.
My buddy had the hacked box.
Oh, nice. So, gangsters.
Yeah, his house had the Playboy Channel and the Adam and Eve channel, or whatever.
Adam and Eve channel, nice. I don't even know what that is. It sounds amazing.
They're I think now Adam and Eve is largely a couples intimacy product supplier, but they had a channel, and it's the same stuff, like not as close to hardcore pornography as you could get without actually showing penetration. Yeah. So that was prevalent.
The good old days. Yeah. For those, it's the good old days. I think we talked about this on the last stream about the escalation of pornography. Right. Which is funny because my channel, it always comes back to food somehow, like a cooking analogy, or we talk about recipes. I've been on your show twice now, and we always go back to smut.
Well, because it's speech, right? Like at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it is speech. And I think that's a topic I would love to explore in a weird way, is because I think everybody misunderstands the Supreme Court's view on what is pornography and what is obscenity. Right. And it keeps coming up with these apps like Parler and with Gab. Had the same thing.
I don't know Gab. I've heard about Parler. It's like the new Twitter.
Gab was Parler before Parler existed, and they it basically became where everybody who got banned off of Twitter went to Gab. And I liked the concept of Gab, and I have a Gab, but I never used it because Twitter just worked better. That's the unfortunate thing about Twitter, is it's a really smooth interface. And it functions it functions well, and it's really user friendly. That being said, people moved over to Parler because it's like, we're free speech, we don't censor based on opinion, and then someone posted anime tits, and then poof, they're gone. And it's like, well, wait a minute, like, and then they're like, well, no, we're the public square, and you can't show anime tits in the public square. It's like, wait, what? What world do you live in? Like, you actually can. You can actually go into the public. I don't recommend anybody do this because it might piss people off.
I'm printing it out. I actually just hit print. I was going to make a little sign and shit.
I don't recommend anyone do it because you might.
The waifu.
Well, someone might confront you over it, right? Like, that's the public square. But you're in a public park or whatever, and you hold up a sign. It's got like an anime waifu up there. You're probably not getting arrested in most cities, and especially if you're not like running and trying to hand out pamphlets to kids or something. So Parler's like, well, we're the public square, and we define it this way. It's like, well, but that's not how the Supreme Court has done that, and actually outside of specific restrictions imposed by cities, you can do this. You actually can. You can have nudity in the public sector. But the Supreme Court's protected it, but people then go on to say that, like, well, it has to be artistic, because that was kind of the idea of the Supreme Court.
Shit, that's where you're really splitting hairs, because what is art, right? Like the classic question is, what is art? And
I have all these I could do whole lectures on shortcuts to story. I think we were talking about this last time, and it's like, and I'll go back to it. Some when Pornhub releases their most frequently searched things or whatever, some states inevitably turn up incest porn as like the most frequently searched thing. Now, the interesting thing about that isn't that in and of itself an expression, right? Like, that is a shortcut to the story of what's going on the screen.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. First off, full disclosure, I look at Pornhub. I'm a man, right? I've seen the site. Here's the thing, and I've thought this same thing. It's literally because of the way their site is built, their splash page is most popular, right? Yeah. So the first 10 pages of porn on their site is, stepdaughter or son and mom, and like, it's literally the first 10 pages. And most people just want to like fap and get it over with, right? So you're not like going to go, oh no, because they're not. Right. And you're
considering one of them is like a completely different race than the other one.
Right. So you're just going, man.
And the other one you've seen in that other video anyway.
Right. So you're there to get the fap out of yourself. So then it ends up compounding the result, right? It's there. It's a popular video. It's in the first 10 pages. You don't give a fuck. It looks cool. You're not even in on the concept. Who watches porn for concepts? Really?
They have to make porn for concepts, though, because that's what keeps it protected. That's the interesting conflict there, right?
That's crazy, dude. What I think that is I think it's a snowball effect. I myself would not ever actively seek out or am like, incest porn is the way to go. But I also know that it's on the first 10 pages. Right. Right? Like it is. And who wants to go through 10 pages?
Like, that's a lot of clicking for me, and I don't have time for this.
I don't have time. The kids are going to come up here any minute now, but no, I mean, that's what it is. And nobody looks at data that way. It's always like numbers. The numbers show. Yeah, well, you have to be completely, you have to look at it objectively and subjectively and take a look at all of the factors. So I'm sorry, I totally derailed what you were saying.
No, I was just saying, though, that like the people talk about how if you look at 70s porn and you look at porn today, you've got two very different products, right? Like, and if you watch Boogie Nights, it's like that was the idea. They were trying to make porn that mattered, something with a story, but also the hardcore.
My first smut was Betamax porn. It belonged to my mom's dad, aka my grandpa. It was called there was one called Babyface, And there was another one called High School Memoirs. That's what it was called, High School Memoirs. And nowadays that wouldn't fly because they were all, high school seniors getting it on and stuff. I mean, it was all adults. Like, it was all adults. But like 70s porn was, but we call it bush porn, right? Because like nobody showed them. Every it's a jungle downs. Yeah. For everybody.
I thought it was just because I read my lips. I thought that was the bush you were talking about.
No, no thank you. None of that Barbara, none of that George. No thank you.
But see, so, but there was ostensibly like more story happening. And then now it's these scenes, right? Because it's transitioned away from a movie that they did to this. It's just a scene on a website. It's
situations.
Yeah. But I think those situations are the story.
Sure.
Like that's part of that's the artistic message.
Maybe that is artistic, but like you said, it's like, what is the line between what's art and what's obscenity? Like, here's the thing: we live in an age where Duchamp could take a toilet off a wall, sign it, and say this is art. We also, in the past 2 years, there was someone who took duct tape and put a banana on a wall and called it art.
Yeah.
So if someone says, I'm going to put Cocoa Puffs up my butthole and shoot them into a Glad stretch bag filled with kid slime.
Stop it.
This is art. This is my art.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that video's on Pornhub.
It probably is. I'm just saying. But who's to say? Who's to say? Like, is the banana guy ridiculous, or is Cocoa Puffs ridiculous?
Yeah, it's a tough question.
Before Cocoa Puffs.
Completely derailing this discussion, but you mentioned something that I really liked. There's a great podcast out there called Revisionist History, and they've just done they're just doing their new season of it, and it's Malcolm Gladwell. Are you familiar?
Oh yeah, Outliers and Tipping Point. Yeah, I love him.
If you like him, you should definitely listen to the podcast. It's really well. Yeah, it's really well produced, and it's him just talking in his gay cadence that is really addicting. But
I just love his fro, dude.
His what?
It's fro.
Yeah.
He's got this sweet, tight little fro.
His first two episodes of this season are about the first one's called The Psychology of the Dragon, and it's about art museums and how they hoard art. And the crazy thing about that is from a completely unrelated to art standpoint, from an accounting standpoint, art museums are not required to list the art that they own as assets. Can you believe that?
No.
Like, think he's talking about the Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art, which is one of the richest nonprofits in the entire planet based on what they own.
Incredible.
None of their art is listed on their balance sheet. Not a penny of it. So the fact that they have 5 or 6 Van Goghs, several Picassos.
Man, getting away from us public servants.
Right. And so like you've got a Van Gogh that would be worth $50 million plus at auction. And they don't have to list it. And they have like 10 of them. The second episode he did was in the same vein as the first, but it was a different thing, and it was about Hedwig's, I think it's called Hedwig's Missing Van Gogh. It's about this family that they were fleeing the Holocaust, and Hedwig was the grandmother, and she sold off a bunch of art that she had, and then her grandson, who ended up in Australia, was on like a quest to kind of get it back. And the Van Gogh that she had to sell ended up in the Detroit Institute of Art. And it's a completely irrelevant Van Gogh piece. It's called Carnations and Vase. And it's just a true life picture, him painting flowers and a vase, like you do at an art camp or something. Yeah. And so it's not an important piece at all. And they will not return it to the family. And when the family was like, hey, my grandmother sold this because she was fleeing the Nazis. And they're like, well, too bad, we own it. You can't, and it was donated to them. It's not like they acquired it for millions of dollars or whatever. But they're like, no, and they sued them. They actually sued them to establish. It's a motion to quiet title or whatever, which is how you establish ownership of property that's that's contested. And so they sued and they won because they got it legitimately, which is true. But it's the idea. It's like, but this isn't this Van Gogh has no value to you.
Right.
First of all, you don't count it on your books as an asset. Second of all, it's rarely ever on display because it's not even an important piece.
Right.
And then third of all, this is these people's that they had to get rid of under duress. But really interesting stuff. And
yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
But what made it important, what triggered me while you were talking was the only reason that Van Gogh painting matters is because his name is on it.
That's right.
And because anybody else paints the exact same thing with the same technique, same brush stroke, and this isn't a regular Van Gogh, right? Like this could actually be replicated by just anyone with some level of talent, and it would be worthless. But because his name's on it, it's somehow important.
I got kicked out of a car. I got kicked out of a moving car in Paris.
Oh no! What did you do?
It wasn't moving fast. I'll name names because he's my homie. There's a director by the name of Louis Leterrier. Okay, he directed The Hulk and Clash of the Titans and Now You See Me. Really, really cool dude. And I had just visited the Pompidou Museum, and there they had some really cool shit. They had some Picassos and some Matisses and some Rothkos and stuff. And I saw this one particular painting that like made me angry.
Okay.
It was 10 by 10. It was like cobalt blue, and it had a big like scrape in it, right? Like someone had taken their car key and just scraped it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like a $10 million painting. Right. And Louis had picked me up and he's like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "Yo, some of them were cool and everything, but I prefer the artwork in the Louvre and Orsay over most of the stuff here in Pompidou."
Oh shit.
And he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, dude, come on. I mean, like, there's guys out there on the fucking River Seine that are like painting shit that is 10 times better than some 10 by 10 blue painting." He's like, "You don't understand. You forget context." And I'm like, "Okay, tell me." He's like, the thing about that blue painting is no one had done that before. And this guy did it first. So therefore it belongs in a museum. And I'm like, so you're telling me some guy out there could do something no one has ever done, like, put Cocoa Puffs up his ass, whatever. And he's like, "No, it's about the story. It's about the context." It's like what you're saying in regard to the signature of Van Gogh, that it's his.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I don't buy in on this concept. He was so pissed off because he was like calling me closed-minded and that I don't get it. And he kicked me out of his car, told me, walk back, like you go back to your flat yourself. Like I had to catch the subway and get back to my flat that way. But he was super pissed because he said I didn't get it. But like, I kind of get it. Like you look at some of these and you go, oh, it was 1920 something. It was during this period and that color wasn't available, or he was oppressed and the great fires of such and such. And that was the only one that survived. Like, cool. There's the story and the history of it. But like you said, anybody on the street could replicate that,
right,
and say it's the same thing. So a lot of what makes art isn't the object itself; it's the histories behind it.
I mean, I guess, but at the same time, I went to a museum of modern art. I think it was in Chicago, and I saw a wheelbarrow full of gumballs on display, and I was like, "That's."
Delicious.
Just a wheelbarrow full of gumballs. And then I go, similar to like in France, you go outside of the Louvre or Orsay and you go up by Sacré-Cœur to the artists' quarter there, and you see these guys painting masterpieces, and they'll paint 10 of them a day, and you're like, I could never even come close to this. And similar to that, you go out and you see some guy with like some pots and some spray paint, and he will create the coolest thing you've ever seen with spray paint.
Cosmos.
Right?
The Cosmos.
That Cosmos thing, and you're like, what the hell is this? And this is better than gumballs in a wheelbarrow, 10 times out of 10 for me. And every one of those Cosmos paintings is going to be a little different. Yeah. And the gumballs in a wheelbarrow would only be different if you replicated it, because you didn't take the time to replicate the exact pattern of gumballs that were in the wheelbarrow that you saw at the Chicago Museum.
But let's say Cosmos guy on Miami Beach versus Cosmo guy on Venice Beach versus the Coney Island Cosmos guy, because they're all doing the same thing. Yeah. But if Cosmos guy, we're going to use a Florida person, because Floridians, I love them, but they crazy. Let's say Cosmos guy in Miami like goes on a fucking crazy killing spree, right?
Well, his work's worth more because it's funnier.
Yeah, because it's funnier. I'm just saying, if all of a sudden, it's like, if all of a sudden he did something that was like crazy newsworthy, any of Dude's paintings would be worth more than the other guys because of the context.
Right. And I get that, but I think we go a little too far on the context, because there's no objective way or even subjective way to measure the value of that context, right? But when I go to Musée d'Orsay or whatever, and I see Renoir's Gates of Hell, I don't.
No, isn't that Rodin?
Or Rodin?
You're talking about the sculpture?
Yeah, Rodin.
That's Rodin. Yeah.
Right. I see Gates of Hell, and I don't need context to look at that thing and go, that is.
Dude, I wish you were in that car with Louis and me, because that was literally my argument. I'm like, you can look at these things. You could look at a Caravaggio. You could look at what's the one, the Sunday morning. It's not Sunday morning. It's the one that they looked at in Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Chicago. It's
is it Tuesday morning?
No, it's my brain is done froze. But anyway, there's a previs version of it, like a smaller version of it in the Orsay. Oh, Whistler's Mother's there too. That's when people know the lady on the rocking chair. You look at that and you go, yeah, that's nice craftsmanship. It's well painted. I get it. This thing is 200 years old. Like, that's what I said. Like, when it comes to the artwork in the Orsay or the Louvre, it's clear that these guys knew what they were doing. A lot of the stuff that was in the the Museum of Modern Art was just sort of, there's pretentiousness, to some of it. Like, I get it, and I like it. Part of me likes it. Like, I forget the what it's called. This is not a pipe. The painting of the pipe. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but it's just from the name of it, I'm like, it's a fucking pipe. I can already tell.
No, but it's written in French. This is not a pipe, and it's a painting of a pipe, and the artist is trying to say this is not a pipe. It's a interpretation of a pipe on a canvas, and that was what he's trying to do. It's conceptual, and the same thing like with Duchamp. Duchamp had made this like very elaborate glass piece of art, and as they delivered it to the museum, it got cracked, like spiderweb cracked. Sure. And they were like, oh my God, Duchamp's going to freak out. And his answer was like, no, this is part of the process. I knew when it got moved, it would be broken. So this is what I meant it to be.
I knew it would be broken. I knew Shut up, you cock. You didn't.
Therefore, this is what I meant it to be. So that's like part of the lore, it's weird. It's weird because it is like different pieces of art. But, going back to our original topic of what is art, what's obscenity, God, it's in the eye of the beholder at a certain point, right?
Yeah. It is. And it's just some beholders make something worth $10 million and other beholders make something worth $25.
Well, that stuff is what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? Like, for example, let's go into something as simple as this. I have something that was given to me. Are you familiar? You have to be. Jack Kirby is, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jack Kirby, I was fortunate enough to know Jack, been over to his house a few times, wonderful man. When he passed away, it sucked. And there was an auction maybe a couple months later at this place called WonderCon in Oakland, and they were auctioning off one of his pencils. And I was like, I need one of those. Like, I just fucking need Jack Kirby's pencil.
Right.
Like I fucking need it. And I was willing to pay like $1,000 for this piece of wood, just a fucking lead pencil that belonged to Jack Kirby. And I lost, apparently a bunch of like retailers put money together and they basically put all their money together to get it and toured the pencil around these retailers. So I was like, fuck, man. Like, I don't have that kind of money to compete with these guys. I lost it, whatever. I saw Roz, who's Jack's wife. And I just said to her the time I saw her, I said, hey, it would mean the world to me if I could have one of Jack's pencils from his tabaret. And she said, oh yeah, sure. It's just a pencil, right? And like gave me a fucking pencil. So I have a Jack Kirby pencil, but it was just weird that in one situation I was willing to give up $1,000. And then in the other situation where I'm like with his wife, she's just like, yeah, here, like.
Did you be honest though? Did you drive by the retailers like this?
No. One of them's my friend, and I told him the story because they thought they were so great that they defeated me in that. And I just told Joe, like Joe's my buddy. He had it in his shop for a while. I told him, I said, yeah, Raj just gave me one. He's like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not that kind of guy. Like I got well, here's the thing. I got a lot, like I'm watching that, The Last Dance. I'm finally getting caught up to that thing that everybody should watch if you're a fan. It's called The Last Dance. You haven't seen it?
Oh, I've heard of it. Who's
it's about? It's about the Chicago Bulls.
Oh yeah, Michael Jordan. What? No. He froze. Well. I'm still here. So apparently it's not my damn. Wait, is this my stream still on? My stream's still on. It's just Dan. So sorry, Dan. If he comes back, I will welcome him back. So for me, oh, here he comes.
I'm back.
Look at on my screen. Oh, your other face was still there for a minute, but welcome back.
Thanks, man. Yeah, my internet died. Like my Wi-Fi went out, so I'm running this through my phone.
Damn, that was fast. I'm mighty impressed.
I'm using the hotspot on my phone. It's great.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I thought you had froze, but yeah, no. What do you call it? The Last Dance is fantastic, and the more I watch it, I realize that I got a lot of the idiosyncrasies that Michael Jordan has. I have a lot of those in myself. Where I want to win, and when somebody does me wrong, I want them to know they done wrong.
Sure.
But that's about it. I didn't feel like the difference is I don't feel like those retailers done me wrong. I mean, I think what they had was more noble cause than me. I keep mine all wrapped up in bubble wrap in a box. Theirs at least toured and people got to see it in ooh and ah.
Yeah, that's always the weird thing. Is like, what do you do with art when you have it?
Yeah.
And that's and I think you'll probably like when you get to this stuff on Gladwell's podcast. Is that's part of his argument. He talks about the Met has a curator of Muslim rugs because the Met has the largest collection of Muslim rugs in the Western Hemisphere and like the second or third largest in the entire world. The curator has never seen any of them.
What? How are you a curator then?
I mean, he knows they exist, right? Like, he's an expert in Muslim rugs generally, and he knows that the Met has them, but he's never seen their collection because it would take too much time and effort to actually go and pull them out of storage.
How is he? How is that? My brain's kind of breaking here. If it is your job to curate a specific thing, but that thing you never have contact with, how do you have a job?
Because, I mean, they own it, so they need someone to curate it, I guess, but they never have displayed them. They've never pulled them out of storage. So
are they racist?
So then the question is, why have them? Right? Like, there are other...
Right. That is a wonderful question.
Set up a rug museum or donate them to a rug museum that will display them.
Yeah, man.
And that was the whole... But it's not on their balance sheet. So it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter.
Weird. So there's a lot of, what do they call that? 3-card Monte shell game going on.
Yeah.
It seems. That's nuts.
So these museums, man, they take and they hoard. They don't preserve. They don't display. Like, they do for some stuff, but the Met has 2 million items that they own 2 million pieces of. Yeah, they own.
Holy fuck, man!
And you go through the museum and you're going to see a couple thousand, but they own 2 million pieces of art. And it's like, well, what the fuck is the point of owning this if you're never going to have anybody see it ever?
Yeah.
That's the big question on this stuff. So, how are they sure if it hasn't been stolen if they haven't seen them? They're not. That's the crazy thing. They're like, in theory, a Met janitor at the warehouse could just take stuff and they wouldn't know for years who took it because there's no.
That's true. You have a bomb ass rug, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. My cats would piss on that thing immediately. It'd be great.
Yeah. Why are they so Muslim haters, man? That's fucked up. I'm moving my camera and my laptop right now because I want to make sure my battery on my phone doesn't run out. Yeah, that would be terrible. Well, but I should be going to bed here soon too.
I was gonna say I should let you go anyway because I need to cover one final thing that I was gonna talk about, which is there's a small update in Sargon versus Akilah Hughes' case that I haven't seen anybody. Sargon is Sargon of Akkad. He's a YouTube.
Sargon sounds like a Superman villain. Yeah, I am Sargon.
Well, it's an old Greek name, so that's probably why. Okay. But or maybe not. I think he's Greek. I think it's a Greek name. But Sargon's a British YouTube commentator, very sort of right leaning on several issues. But he was sued by this chick named Akilah Hughes or Akilah Honestly, because she made a video about why she supported Hillary Clinton, and then he made a video making fun of her. And
that's normal, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And
I mean, that's YouTube.
But the video he made it was her video, but he cut it down from like 15 minutes to like 2 minutes, and just didn't have any commentary. It was just 2 minutes of crazy, right? Of her crazy ranting about Hillary. And then, because her overall video had other topics involved or whatever, but he picked out basically the 2 minutes that showed that that this is why feminists are crazy, and I think he titled it something like that. And she ended up suing him for copyright infringement, and predictably he won on fair use grounds. But now
she wasted the fuck out of his time, though.
Time and money. It cost him $40,000 to defend against it.
Did she have to pay him that money?
They're trying to get fees. So the case is still ongoing in that respect. But he won. The judge dismissed it as frivolous, and so now they've motioned for fees. And then the update. I mean, I could just cover it while you're on here. It's not. Super crazy.
Interesting. This is interesting. I'm actually I'm so tired. I'm so tired, but I'm down.
The update is pretty simple. Aquila continues to run her mouth on Twitter. And part of the central defense that Sargon had levied was she's not doing this on copyright principles. She's trying to punish Sargon. Like, that's the idea that what she's doing. And so they have sent a letter to the judge. And in that letter, they have said, basically the issue is fully briefed and they're waiting on the judge's ruling. But they want to bring the court's attention to the fact that she continues on her Twitter tirades, basically saying that that the judge is deciding wrongly and that people need to support her and that this is YouTube's fault and all of that stuff, rather than her just not having any idea what copyright is or how it works. And so they're sending this.
We call that the double down, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And she has lost, and she said, I only lost because YouTube refuses to take a stand against hate. And she's still out there campaigning, trying to get Sargon's channel kicked off of YouTube. And then
all he has to do is show some ass titty and it's done.
Exactly. And if he showed Aquila's ass titty, we'd all be done because gross. But anyway, she has now responded because they just wrote a letter to the court. And she has now responded saying that this amounts to what's called a SIR reply, and they want permission to answer the SIR reply and have his SIR reply stricken from the record because it was improper.
That's some fucking jargon. SIR reply, is that a ma'am reply? Like what?
SIR, as in, think of it in French, right? SIR as in above, on top of. So the SIR reply is a reply that is on top of any sort of rule allowed responses. So this is an extra thing that they have done. And SIR replies are generally just at the pleasure of the court. Like if you send you brief something, they do a response to your brief, you get a reply to their response. Anything after that is a SIR reply. So it's on top of what the rules have. And so they're saying that this is a SIR reply and it should be disallowed. But the court can let it stay in or let it go out. But I wanted to let people know that's kind of what's going on in Sargon and Aquila's case. And I've summarized it for you. I could go through the whole letter. I won't do that with Dan on here because poor guy.
I'm gonna roll out on that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna roll out on that shit. No, that's interesting though. Sargon, take me away. No, that's Calgon. That's Calgon. Totally different dude.
Very different. Very different.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to the Angry Bangling for cycling that link out. I gotta build that channel up tomorrow. I'm gonna put a new thing in and get it going. And
13 to go till 700, guys.
That's incredible, man.
Get it.
That's amazing. Nick, thank you so much. You are more than a scholar and a gentleman. No, seriously, it was so kind of you to reach out to me and do this. You and I don't, Az, right? You were on his show.
Yeah, he's great.
I fucking love him like a brother. I've never met him before other than being on his show, and I fucking love that guy. He made me a similar offer coming over to visit him tomorrow. So I'm gonna go see that, and he's gonna help me.
Dude, that guy he's freaking hilarious.
He's so good, man. His point of view is great. His cadence is great. He's so talented. I watched your painty stream. I try to make it sound cute. Your little painty stream.
Hey, here's my guy. So I'm almost done with him. But
that's great. A lot of detail, man. That contrast paint. How you like that stuff?
It's amazing. It makes you look way more talented than you are.
That's great. I need some of that. I need to spray that all over my shit, man. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Have a good night. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. I always like talking to you.
Likewise, man. I definitely appreciate you having me on here and getting the message out. And Peacock, man, he was great. I'm gonna have to check out some of the books he was talking about. He looks just like my friend Josh too. I got a buddy. No, I got a buddy named Josh Keaton. He's a voice actor.
Yeah.
And Josh's voice is a little more. He used to voice Spider-Man. He used to voice a Green Lantern too. So he's got a little more of a superhero voice. He's a little up in here. Peacock is a little,
he's got a little more of a real superhero voice.
But like they could totally be like doppelgangers, man. It was a trip. I was like, I like Peacock. It's because he looks like Josh.
He's a good dude. His channel's pretty funny too. He reads public domain stuff in a bathrobe. It's great.
Oh, what's his channel called?
Mr. Peacock Presents.
Oh, that's easy. Okay.
Yeah. He's good.
I'm gonna send Josh. I'm gonna send Josh his way and say, I found your brother. He has all sisters. Like he used to be in a pop group, and his sister, one of his sisters, was in a pop group too, and he's surrounded by nothing but sisters. It's like 3 sisters and 1 boy, and I'm like, you poor motherfucker.
Damn, you gotta have a bro with you. I
had 4 brothers, so the whole sister thing, like all the little girl thing, like dealing with my daughter, I'm like, huh? Like, you can't deal with them in the same way. Like,
no.
Boy, like you were saying earlier, you say, hey, knock it off. Like you could do that with a boy. I do that with my son Harrison. He's, oh yeah, okay, Dad. And then the daughter's like, no, and I'm like, what do you mean no?
With my daughters, I'm just like, stop crying. Just stop crying. Just talk to me and stop crying, for God's sake.
Babies. 5, man. Big respect. Enjoy your awesome whiskey, man. I might have one more. If you haven't tried that Jefferson's Ocean yet, try it. I got to
find some.
Yeah, the one I found was Voyage 19. I guess each voyage gets a, they label it like, Voyage 5, the 5th time they did this trick. The one I got, Voyage 19, it's special specifically because it's weeded, which is different than the other ones.
Yeah, adds a sweetness to it.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
To be clear, this is no longer the good. I only had one of those because I'm not pounding a $480 bottle.
I wish you would. I'm imagining that's what you're doing. I cycled through mine, like the ones I sent you, the rye, the widow, I still have some of the Japanese coffee still one, the Jefferson Ocean and the Weller. I cycle through them, but of course I'm like you. It's like for every one of those, I'll have 3 Jim Beams.
Yeah. You gotta do stuff like that. So I had 1 glass of Boss Hog. I had 1 glass of Oban 18, which I'm not a big fan of. And I've had two of the Honor brand.
Oh, Honor. How's that one? I saw that.
That's the one I got when you and I were streaming together, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that again at the liquor store too.
It's pretty good. That's what I'm drinking right now. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's good. It's got a sweetness. It's a little harsh, but it's not expensive, so it doesn't really matter.
My favorite is that Weller, dude. That Weller is everything to me.
I gotta find that. You said $30 a bottle too?
I got it for 30, and I looked it up online, and it's usually retailing at 59. So I maybe this guy made a mistake, but I bought 3 bottles at 29 a bottle.
I will see what I can.
Weller Private Reserve. And then I'll go. I'm like, the long goodbye. The thing that I like about the Weller is it tastes like good bourbon. Like that's literally its characteristic, is that it tastes like good bourbon. The that rye, that Willet rye I showed you, the Family Estate 4-year.
Yeah.
It tastes like candy that I remember from the 80s. The Widow Jane tastes a certain way. The coffee still one has almost a scotchy taste to it.
The Nika, that's the Nika coffee malt, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's the Japanese trying to do a scotch.
I like it. For all intents and purposes, though, it's a bourbon. It's the still that gives it that scotchiness, right? Mm-hmm. So I could blind taste test all of those, but the thing, like I said, I like about the Weller is it's consistently good. And the thing that sucks about going back to Jim Beam is you can taste the cheapness, as you go, oh, there's auto part juice.
There's
in here,
acetone in this.
There's something not right. Where before I used to be totally fine with it, But dude, thank you so much. I'm gonna go sleep for probably 3.5 hours till baby says it's time.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, sir, and thank you, chat, and again for helping me build this new channel. I'm gonna get some new videos up tomorrow and get it rolling and start streaming again. Get those hours up.
All right, man. Let me know if I can help with that.
Appreciate it, dude. Of course. Yeah, no, I'm going to get you on there for sure.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
All right,
Take
peace.
it easy. Take it easy, man.
Have a good one. Oh, no, there's doppelgangers of me. Let me get that off there. Oh, thank God. Thank God. We fixed that. Fixed that right away. All right, guys. That was Dan Frega. And we had Peacock on earlier. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on that. I really enjoy both of them. And you guys said you couldn't see my mini before, so I'll show it again. I was just waiting until I could get it on the main camera. I have a second camera. Hold on. It's not going to focus on there because I turned off the autofocus. Give me just a second. I'll show it real quick, and then we'll go ahead and I don't know. Do you guys want me to go through the Sargon and Aquila thing? Because I can. Here, there you go. There you go. So, I can go through the actual Sargon and Aquila ruling. I don't mind doing that, or not ruling, but it's just some documents. They're not really crazy. I won't actually. Here's what I'll do. Let's go through the Sargon one. The Aquila one is just them saying they want it stricken. And the reason they want it stricken is because it's bad for them. That's the reality. It's a terrible thing for them to have Aquila hung by her own words. And so they want that removed. But let me pull up the Sargon one real quick, and I'll just show you what they're complaining about Aquila saying, why they think it's important. This won't take long at all to do. And then what we'll do is we'll go over to Twitch in a little bit here, and we are going to watch Running Man tonight. Yes, we are still doing that. Yes, I'm also going to do the super chats that I did not get to yesterday because of the internet. I still have them pulled up. So that will be there. So let me get this centered here. Oh my goodness. So this is back on June 11th. I haven't been really looking for the Sargon thing because mainly I don't, whoops. I don't know when the judge is going to actually look at this. And there, oh my God. It's federal court. It can take a long time for ruling. So I only check it every so often. But yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Running Man is the Running Man we're talking about. So this is Hughes versus Benjamin. Your Honor, I represent defendant Carl Benjamin. In the caption, copyright action, Mr. Benjamin's motion for an award for attorney's fees and costs is fully submitted. I write briefly to apprise the court of new developments to justify granting the requested relief. So at this stage in the case, they've won the case. Now they've asked the court to go ahead and issue basically a sanction that says that Sargon should be paid Aquila should be paying Sargon's attorney's fees. And she should do that because she was using the copyright system in a way that was not about the copyright at all. That's the main thing. So summary of the motion. This is the outstanding motion. They're just reminding the court what the issue is. And if anybody's wondering this because they're like, oh, the court has this document. Look, the judge issued a ruling on this months ago. Months have gone by, and that judge is busy. He's looking at other cases. He's working through things. He is not focused on Sargon and Aquila. He doesn't care about these two people at all. So they want to go ahead and remind the judge why in shit he should pay attention to this letter at all. So here we go. Court dismissed with prejudice plaintiff's meritless copyright claims. Defendant's motion seeks a reasonable attorney's fee to the prevailing party under the Copyright Act. The requested award is especially warranted in this case because, among other things, plaintiff's improper motives are contrary to the purposes of copyright. Plaintiff Aquila sued not because of the inherent merit of her claims, but out of a conspicuous desire to silence defendant's criticism while promoting her own YouTube channel, book, and personal celebrity. The opposition contends incorrectly that motive is irrelevant. It also characterizes plaintiff's use of the lawsuit for publicity as mere heat of the moment banter. So they're saying none of this has anything to do with the copyright. They're abusing the court's time. They're wasting your time. And this is bullshit. So relevant new developments. Plaintiff continues to flog the lawsuit to her fans, which is a little bit racist. Considering Aquila is black, she shouldn't flog anything. That just harkens back to a darker time. Her recent conduct further demonstrates improper motive, and it further justifies the requested award. On June 3rd, plaintiff tweeted to her hundreds of thousands of followers that, quote, "The guy I sued for re-uploading my content, defendant Mr. Benjamin, made rape threats. The allegation is false." And Sargon is forever plagued by declaring publicly that he wouldn't rape someone and that is somehow a rape threat. Like, whatever you think about Sargon, the comedy of this situation cannot be understated. Sargon is forever labeled as the person who sent a rape threat to Jen Phillips or whatever, I think her name is. And he said, "I wouldn't even rape you." Which is, it's the categorical opposite of a rape threat. And forever he will be claimed as someone who sent a rape threat to a British MP. Jess Phillips, thank you. Yes. It's beautiful. That's where we are, right? It's the new speak, the double speak, the 1984 all over again, is that their thinking is so backwards and wrapped up in the stupidity of leftism that saying, "I will not do this," is equivalent of saying, "I'm going to do this." That those two things are equal. It's unimaginably great. Okay, sorry. The same tweet publishes portions of what plaintiff describes as her, quote, email to YouTube, arguing that YouTube should ban defendant's content because defendant has opinions that plaintiff considers offensive. So yeah, she's still trying to get Sargon deplatformed. Still trying to. In another tweet published the same day, plaintiff claims she had to sue Mr. Benjamin, but lost the case because, quote, YouTube won't take a stand. An embedded email from plaintiff to YouTube argues that, quote, YouTube is fully complicit in the moment we are in because YouTube, quote, thinks defendant's content should stay up. So she's really trying the shaming language and using the society argument right now with the Black Lives Matter thing. Of course, Aquila is going to lean on Black Lives Matter. She's going to lean into the Me Too movement and all of that stuff to try and get Sargon canceled. Because at the end of the day, that's what she was after with the copyright. Punish the opinions of it depends on the age, mate. Punish the opinions of Sargon, right? Like that's the problem. Is not, she just can't disagree. She must disagree and destroy, as it is with the current left. These tweets are more evidence of plaintiff's misuse of this lawsuit for publicity and is part of her effort to deplatform Mr. Benjamin. They also refute the opposition's attempt to minimize plaintiff's conduct as inconsequential mistake made in the heat of the moment. This is the interesting thing about this case, which is pretty special. Copyright is not any other lawsuit. Normal lawsuits, you can do them as long as you have a legitimate legal purpose. You can bring on a lawsuit for any purpose you want, right? Like your lawsuit, as long as you have a meritorious lawsuit, it can similarly be to expose the lies of someone, for example, something like that. That's fine, as long as there's merit to it. Copyright, and even if it's meritless, it's really hard to be considered a vindictive litigant or a frivolous litigant based on one lawsuit. You usually have to have a couple where you're really going after the same person. Talked about that a little bit on Russell Greer's stream. It's called a vexatious litigant, I think is the proper term for it. But it's really hard to do that because you have a right to bring suit against people if you feel you were wronged. Copyright, though, is a specific system created by the federal government to protect works of art. And there's a copyright court process. And that process being abused is offensive to the Copyright Office itself, because you're leveraging the power of the state to enforce your rights to artistic, recognition. And to abuse that for any other purpose is really a violation of what this thing is. Because you're using very, very specific rules created to protect the integrity of work that you created. And that's a constitutional protection, right? Congress is in Article 1, Section 8 or 9, I don't remember specifically, but they're given the idea of the patent and copyright system in the Constitution to enable the protection of the arts and scientific innovation. Like, that's why it exists. And that's why America is such a great place for it. That this art and innovation is to be constitutionally protected, and Congress has the duty to do it. So Congress, taking that duty seriously, created the copyright and the patent systems to do that, to give the rights that are in the Constitution to the people in a way that is tangible and enforceable and accessible. And so to take that and then leverage the power of the state to silence someone is anathema to what that system is. It's literally the exact opposite. So that's the problem in a copyright case. In other cases, they'd be like, who cares? Like, did their case have merit? If yes, they go on. If no, they don't. And then, okay, it didn't have merit and they brought it to bring themselves some publicity. Okay, well, it didn't have merit and you defended it. So you either, if there's a statute that says you get fees, maybe you do, maybe not. In copyright, it matters a little bit more. That's what I'm trying to say. Conclusion, plaintiff continues to brandish this lawsuit as a weapon in her attack on an ideological opponent that she sued for ideological reasons. Plaintiff continues to hawk the case in a social media celebrity advertisement aimed at her fans and followers. Plaintiff's conduct of this litigation is contrary to the Copyright Act's purpose of enriching the public through access to creative works. Directly contrary, plaintiff is attempting to use copyright for the improper purpose of silencing critical speech. Court dismissed plaintiff's strategic claims. Mr. Benjamin's defense was efficient but not costless. For the reasons stated, the court should grant the motion and award the defendant a reasonable fee. And that's Wesley Mullen. Thank you to Wesley for doing that. That's Sargon's attorney. So that is the root of the update. And again, Akila's counter to that is that this is an improper surreply and should be excluded. That's basically what she said. There's not much more to it. It's a one-page letter. And I don't feel like pulling it up because it cost me 20 cents to do it. So, but that's where they're at right now. And again, the case will continue on in the limbo that it's in. The case will continue on in the limbo that it's in until the court gets around to hearing it. That's where it Dalvidinius says, I don't think anyone should rape Jen Phillips. I don't know why, Mercurius, you are threatening Jen Phillips in that way. You've just threatened a gang rape, and that is uncalled for, sir or ma'am. I don't assume genders. And I hope you are properly canceled for that. So there you go. That's that. And again, I think Sargon did that case exactly as he was supposed to. He really didn't talk about it too much publicly. His costs, he fundraised. He did do a GoFundMe, I believe, for his legal defense, and funded. I think he well overfunded the lawsuit, as is to be expected from someone of his stature. But at the same time, he's still entitled to those fees. He shouldn't have had to fundraise. None of that should have had to happen. And again, it doesn't really matter what you think of Sargon. I've always kind of liked Sargon. I don't agree with everything he says, but I don't agree with everything I say. So that's not really much of a statement. I've always thought on balance, he's a good guy. I don't mind picking on him too, because everybody should be picked on. But that's that. He has some. He's good at making content. He just is. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's pretty successful. All right, now here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to go through the super chats I missed yesterday. There's not a ton of them, and I will go through those before I got summarily cut off. And then we are going to do today's super chats. I know there's some ones that I've missed. But, Tickle My Tombstone says, any updates on Pridemore's drinking problems? How do I word this? Pridemore will be getting some time on this channel in the future. There's some people that have done much better research on it than I have. And I will be going, what? Why are you saying F? I'm on. Must have just hiccup for a second. Some people have done much better research than I have on Pridemore, and I need to reach out to them and do that and get that information. So Jessie Pridemore is going to get some time. She's been doing this for a while. Jessie Pridemore has been accusing men and trying to ruin their lives in similar ways for a while. And the timing of her recent accusation is no accident. The woman thinks that she has anywhere near my level of grifting ability, but I am going to show that cold bitch how to grift. So we will be covering the Jessie Pridemore stuff very soon, and I think there's actually a lot to go through, so it may be done over multiple parts. But she is certainly a disgusting pile of garbage of the Me Too movement. And she is very much trying to get on the hype train to extract money from communities. And her latest attack, if you're not aware, is against one of the highest crowdfunding communities that exists. The Vampire Masquerade community crowdfunds a ludicrous amount of stuff. To a massive degree. And I've been looking kind of at the raw numbers on that. They pump so much money into the products on a per donation basis or per donator basis that it's terrifying how much money they spend on it. And for her to attack someone in that community, I believe is a calculated thing. But in my early research, I'm uncovering some interesting stuff about not only her, but about but about that community, about that industry, about the companies involved. Paradox, you've got some big games coming out. You sure you want to be on the side of someone like Jesse Pridemore, Paradox? But we'll see. But yeah, I think she's a classic grifter. The only problem is the wall is coming. Well, it's already kind of hit Jesse Pridemore, which is why she's so flat chested. And that is her big deal. She can't just shake her. She can't just jiggle anymore. So we'll be talking about that more going forward. But there's plenty of stuff to come about Jesse Pridemore. Let's see. Okay. Let me go to yesterday's chats. Kissa Mass says the U.S. military should sit its swole nuts on the Spratly Islands to show China. Sounds good. Bad Vibe says, damn it, Charlie Daniels is gone. Unfortunately for Nick, Jack is still here. Jack Daniels is disgusting. But yes, Charlie Daniels did kick off and shuffle off his mortal coil, I believe, yesterday. So RIP to him. Viden the Cold One says, good news, my dad made it through quadruple bypass. To quote Andy Worski, yes! Glad, buddy, that happened. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm very happy about that. That's awesome. Good news. Hopefully a speedy recovery is on for that. Andrew War Snowboard says, for EVS, how many digits of pi can you recite? I have no idea. Nico H says, just got told that someone in my workplace has Corona-chan. Now multiple people have been feeling ill, and now am panicking. They're going to. If I can digress for just a moment. The whole idea of flattening the curve was to push back hospitalizations. So we've got two problems. One, all of the hospitalizations that could have happened early on have been pushed back to now. And that's kind of an issue, right? Like, hospitalizations will continue. They're the people that would have gotten it earlier and now won't get it, or now will get it because they otherwise would have. Now they will. We could have had front-loaded the hospitalizations and flooded the system or whatever. That was what they told us would happen. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they said they were pushing back. And so now, as they reopen stuff and there's hospitalizations are increasing, well, yeah, that was your fucking plan. Like, of course that's what's going on. The next problem is this is basic economics, macroeconomics. If you know anything about how markets work, when you introduce a product or reintroduce a product to the market that's desirable, it will be overconsumed initially. And then basically what happens is it creates a high level of demand, which raises price. Then price goes up, then demand goes down, then price goes down to compensate. And eventually, if you leave that, market principles will lead you to what's called economic equilibrium, where demand meets price. Demand meets supply, and when demand meets supply, price is equalized. It's economic equilibrium, okay? When you shut people out of going out in public for months and months and months, and then at the same time, everybody is let out in public, they're going to overconsume and they're going to take risks that they wouldn't otherwise take. So you've got a bunch of people locked up. Now you say, oh, by the way, you can go to restaurants and bars again. A lot of people are going to go, even if they're like, I'm a little worried about Corona, but I really hate being locked up. So they go in, and then you're going to have a lot of hospitalizations, a lot of infections, right? That's going to happen because more people are out interacting. Now, what would happen in an economic system is those infections would occur and people would go, oh shit, I don't want to go out that bad. And then they start under consuming, and then infections are going to go down, and then it'll go up, and then They'll go back and forth until they equalize again and hit equilibrium. But equilibrium will never happen if the government reacts and meddles in the market. This is the not invisible hand of the free market. It is the very visible hand of the government interference. If you shut everything down again and then lull people into security again and then reintroduce the product, they're going to overconsume and you're going to have another spike in cases. It's going to happen every single time. So until the government stops meddling, we'll never just hit that equilibrium of living with corona, which we're going to have eventually occur. It's market economics. There's hundreds of years of data on how this works, but you know, that's that. Anyway, sorry for the sidebar and the economic discussion. That's just what's going to happen. It just will. It just necessarily, if you suppress people from going out, they won't go out, they won't get infected. When you let them out, they'll all go out and they'll all get infected, and then it'll cycle through. Just let it happen. Just let it happen, girl. Just let it happen. Mars Ultor says, Nick, is there any way to legally force payment processors to be nonpartisan? No, not currently. What about passing new laws? Yeah, that's a possibility. Class action suits? No. Why can't New Project 2 sue MasterCard? Because they don't even know what they'd be suing them for. Because no one will tell you what happened. And that's intentional. That's intentional. That they won't tell you why you're removed with any specifics. Because once they do, you could then argue against it, or you could bring it to a court and say this is against some sort of law. 200 Watt Studio says, how's Ian feel about Shane Holmberg's fried shoe? I don't know the answer to that, but Ian did say the only time he encountered Shane was on my stream. So, Michael Kirchmeyer, are you a libertarian? It depends what you mean by that. I wouldn't even rape libertarians. Okay, now we've got Jeff the Gamer says, just say this to piss off certain people. So if a black guy must play Cleveland Brown and a black woman must play Missy on Big Mouth, then by that logic, a white male must play James Bond and a white female must play Ariel in The Little Mermaid, right? Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of the converse of it, right? I think it's interesting that the trans people wouldn't let Halle Berry play a trans person. I'm not, if you put Halle Berry, I don't know how she looks right now, but if you put Halle Berry in the role of a trans person, I'm pressing X to doubt in general, because I saw Swordfish. Whew. You're going to have a hard time convincing me. That Halle Berry's trans. So Michael Kirchmeyer, can you give my shitty avant-garde music compositions a shout out? Google me. Sure. Guys, check out Michael Kirchmeyer for shitty avant-garde music compositions. See, I don't know what that means, but it sounds great. Give it a shot. Yeah, I'll give you a shout out, pal. But yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time believing that Halle is trans, right? So I don't know if they want to do. I don't know what people want. I don't know anymore. Siren Jag says, "Hey Nick, check your Discord DMs. If anything ever earns the newly rare Lemoyne voice, then this will be it. Also, fun fact: ass titties in French is said le ass titties." Okay. What is this? Oh my gosh. I just want to look at it. I don't want to. Fucking downloads. Hold on. I'll pull this up real quick. Oh my god. Siren, this is a lot of work, and I'm not going to do this on this stream, but I think what I'm going to do, maybe on the Rekieta Media channel at some point, is do a live, or maybe on this stream, but have a specific announcement of, let's do Lemoyne voice singing stuff. Okay? And I'm going to save this for that, and you do not have to super chat it on that one. But I don't want to do this right now. But this is a lot. He sent me Con Sluts Baby to the tune of Ice Ice Baby. And I think that is certainly worthy. But I'm not going to do it tonight on this stream. I hope that's okay. Okay. Next we've got Bob the Elder says, hey, Rackets, never get to catch you live. So here's some shekels and a glass of Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben 14-year to you, Mr. Peacock and Mr. Fraga. Anything with Mr. Peacock is Fraga. Sorry. Anything with Mr. Peacock is solid gold. Keep up the good work, guys. I agree. Peacock is fantastic. There's to you, Bob the Elder. Thank you so much. Freighter J says, as lemons for volume 2 of the album. And he's got a sailor's okay. I'm sticking to my rule, Freighter. I'm not gonna do it right now. But save this. He sent me a pirate song to do his lemons. And I want you to save this for that stream. Again, just please preserve this, Freighter J. I'm gonna send it to you in Discord just so I know where it is. All right, but I really kind of want to avoid doing those so much for now. But yeah, now I've got it. When I do a stream, and it's gonna probably be really soon. It's gonna probably be really soon. A stream where we do lemon stuff. I will do it then. I will do it then. Okay. I like the Spike Man says Black Lives Matter isn't about Black lives. Quote Don Lemon 2020. Ramon Franco says PSA. Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast official stance, orcs are racist. Laura Bailey's husband Travis plays a half-orc on Critical Role. Ergo, he's been doing blackface for over 100 episodes. Problematic? Yes. Problematic. Very problematic. Critical Role, they're the woke D&D streamers, right? They should have known that blackface was unacceptable. They should have known. I can't believe he would play a half-orc. Clearly, is he half black, half white? Or does he just hate, quote, the mulattoes? Disgusting levels of racism. I like the Spike Man says, Heil Odin. Also, WTF, Lamentations is just Jeremiah crying by a river. Yeah, but the hard questions in Lamentations are that, you know, God wasn't there when they wanted him to be there. All right. Back to Justice Chat's Wolfman says, well, if they can get a permit for painting BLM on the streets and they're willing to defend it, then I want to put Black Guns Matter on the adjacent street, and that DA should be required to defend it as well. Well, that's not how it works, unfortunately. I agree that it should be, but it's not. Bad Dragonite says, Angry Joe made a similar joke song about ass and titty about Ivy from Soul Calibur years ago without being banned. I wonder what his take on it would be. Calling on viewers to tweet at Angry Joe to signal boost this banning to maybe get it fixed. Okay. You know, you guys can do that if you want. Malik Foxen says, responding to the guy that had a friend who tried to flip the tyranny thing on him. I guess your friend thinks trying to learn about the bad people means you want to be one. Cancel all leaders who try to learn about bad people they intend to remove. These hands said, would love to see you and Louis Laveau do a stream together. You could chain rants back to back. It would be amazing. Not sure what you'd talk about, though. Cops, probably. I'm not familiar. I've heard the name Louis Laveau, but I'm not familiar with his content at all. Dungeon Master says, adding on to the classic work suggestions, definitely pick up We by Yevgeny Zemyetin. It's a great dystopian novel which inspired works like 1984. Other recommendations, anything by Cicero, anything by Edmund Burke, and Le Mort d'Arthur, The Death of Arthur. So there you go. Mercenary X says, I've had the Halo Top ice cream. Let me tell you, that stuff is utter garbage. It tastes like rancid something. I can't begin to describe. Just utterly inedible. If anybody says that stuff tastes good, they're either lying or don't know what good ice cream is. Well, ice cream is dependent on its fat content necessarily. That's what it makes. So, you know. Yeah. Mercenary X says, Nick, I need your help. A friend of mine, Chris Hazelton, of the comic Misfile, is trying to make a video game called A House with Claws, and he has 37 hours to go. He needs at least another 1,500 with All or Nothing campaign on Kickstarter. Please help. Okay, guys, check out A House with Claws on Kickstarter. I don't know what that is. Is it cool? House with Claws? Is that a cool thing? I'll have to... I don't know what that is. Brand Mataraki says, hope everyone is safe in these trying times. Look after your loved ones. Stay safe. Stay sane. And please always remember to drive fast and eat ass. Fran! Eat them groceries. Eat them groceries. Changus Khan says, so Nick, what's the chance that Maxwell Ghislaine gets offed by the Clint? Oh, wait, I meant the chance of her committing suicide. I think it's more likely that she dies of coronavirus induced by bullets or whatever. Oh, someone mentioned the farms. Guys, on my thread on the farms, there's a salty person. And let's just be out with it. The person's a pedophile. They're very salty. They're a pedophile, like a real one. How do I know they're a pedophile, you may ask? Because in those emails that they complain that I don't read on stream or whatever, and I don't reply to, they sent me the underage children that they like to masturbate to, and that's disgusting. So that's why I stopped reading those emails. The person is deranged, unhinged, and a pedophile. So someone mentioned Kiwi Farms in the chat, so I figured I'd address that real quick. I don't like to entertain pedos, unless it's, you know, as target practice or something. Malik Foxon says, if Corona Chan didn't kill me, it certainly won't kill you. I have asthma. I already couldn't breathe well, and Corona Chan put her hands around my neck. Was it her hands or a knee? Get some 12-hour cough medicine, some ibuprofen, start up your humidifier, and game in your room. Don't freak out. So there you go. There you go. Macca Jr. says, I rewatched all your Greer streams and completely forgot about his Morgan Freeman owl and can't stop laughing again. Keep up the good content. Ethan Amante, thank you. You sent a message and then retracted it and then sent an updated one. So I wanted to thank you for that. Desmond Sullivan says, I keep hearing Tim Pool say the government effectively turned the roadway into a public forum. Any validity to that? I mean, no and yes. No and yes. It's government property. and the government can allow people to make their property look a certain way. And so if they did that and they granted a permit for an art mural, destroying it, in my opinion, is vandalism. It's defacing public property, and it should be treated the same way that vandalism of tagging is treated in the area. Now, we're talking about California, where vandalism goes largely unpunished, right? But it should just be consistent. That's the trick. It should just be a consistent thing. They're not treating it in a consistent way. They're treating it in a very special way. Yeah, and look at, for evidence, look at statues. Look at the Chaz. Look at any of these things. Look at riots. They're burning down buildings, but they're going after someone for painting over letters on a road? Fuck off. Chance Lording says, Peacock's thoughts on Dune board game, 2020 Dune. Peacock would still be here if I asked him that question, and he had to go today, sorry. Tenjin Ken says, Mr. Peacock looking mighty bronze. Dunwich 2 when? I'll see if I can get that answer out of him. Cormoran says, if the state okayed the mural and someone gets run over at the intersection, could they sue the state for obscuring the road lines? Yes, they could. I don't know if they'd win, but they could do that. Backgoat says, burning two blunts for Fragaboom. This doesn't pertain to you, Nick. Carry on. Look, you smoke 2 joints in the morning. You smoke 2 joints at night. I don't touch that illegal, icky stuff. Skits Comic says, back Skits now on Indiegogo. Get a 3-book journey. That's Skits, S-K-I-T-S. Go check it out on Indiegogo. Rogue says, BLM managed to kill more blacks than cops in questionable situations last year. They call for defunding the cops, but cry for cops when things go bad. Yep. Inquisitor B312 says, I ended up buying a gun after all this stuff. Gun shops are being emptied out with no ammo. Crazies are starting something that will end in tragedy if the regular people do not stand up. Gun shops have had the best, couple year run I can imagine. Every time the left freaks out, gun sales go through the damn roof. And the ammo is sold out for months. It's great. It's also annoying when you're trying to buy up ammo. Swarm069 says, speaking of Black Lives Matter, did you see that Terry Crews is now canceled as a black person now for not being 100% behind the whole thing? I saw that. Yeah, very interesting. If Terry wants to come on the show, I'll talk to him, I guess. No, I did see that. Pretty interesting. He basically said that there's a whole lot of problems out there. He wasn't even opposed, really. But I'll have to ask Drexel's opinion on that, because he's not a big fan of Terry Crews because of him cucking to the Me Too stuff or something. I don't know the whole story. Greg F says, just graduated from the University of Montana, and I can confirm Missoula is the worst town in the state. Rip Missoula. Racuna says BLM equals burn, loot, murder. Damn. Brian says, Battle Brick Road closing in 2 hours. Oh shit, this is 2 hours ago. Oz with guns only on Indiegogo. Go right now, guys, if you're looking for Battle Brick Road on Indiegogo. Hopefully they'll go to In Demand. Sorry I missed this up until now, but that's the way it goes down. Bad Dragonite says, all you need for 4,000 hours, get Peacock to talk to. DCV Titan says, question, Nick, I got summoned for jury duty. Do you think living in another city 35 kilometers away and not owning a vehicle is a valid reason for a serious hardship exception to be excused from jury duty? Yeah. Try it. I would try it. No one important says story does matter. Consensual sex between a man and a woman. Yawn pass. Oh no, the hot chick at my work was taken over by alien sex virus. Hell yeah. Yes. My stepmom is stuck in the couch. Or whatever. Chengiz Khan says, MasterCard strikes again. This time they got Dan. No, rip Dan. Mars Ultor says, yo, pink bunny suit. Talking crap about Florida is a great way to wake up naked and covered in raw chicken, tied to a tree stump off Alligator Alley. Jason of the Great Awakening says, okay, I'm convinced from a prior stream we can't deprogram the SJW's Marxists, so what's next? Reinstate the asylums? Here there's a nice island available called Little St. James. I don't know. I don't know what's next. It has to be bred out. Luckily, many of them don't breed, which is good. But it has to be bred out, and the education system has to be redone. Hopefully, if coronavirus does anything, it creates more homeschooling and people have less lunacy instilled in their children over 12 years. Bad Vibe says, how funny would it be if it acts like Aquila? If acts like Aquila causes legislation to stop cancel culture and apply protections for public square access in regards to social media. It would be great. It's not going to happen. Macca Jr. says, sorry, all my super chats seem random. I try to jump in quickly while at work to super chat something I'm curious about and watch the replay at night. Never apologize for a super chat. I don't care how random they are. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of them. Angry Baneling says, praise Nick, grifter extraordinaire. Great stream today. You got to get Peacock to do a 4-hour stream with you and Drexel sometime soon. I will ask, but I hate asking for people to do that. Jason of the Great Awakening says, gaming companies going woke is driving me away from their game engines for development. Should I consider starting a based game engine from scratch specifically designed for titties and violence? The answer to that question is always yes. Always yes. Luminaire says, my lame Vermont governor has made it illegal for stores to use plastic bags. Now stores are charging up to 20 cents per paper bag. Is this even legal? Yes. Welcome to the new grift, and that is making you pay for your fucking bag. Used to be just free, but now you can pay for your bag, you environmental bigot. Mario Carter 13 says, Peter Grill, fantasy con slut treating for manseed. I don't know what that means. Joshua Vidrine says, thoughts on Games Workshop targeting Arch? And on a more escapist topic, what is your favorite story thread or series of events in the 40K setting? Thoughts on Games Workshop targeting Arch? I think it's crap. You know, I don't know what exactly is going on. I need to talk to Arch about it. I got to send him an email. That's on me. But it's wild. They shouldn't be targeting anybody. It's really stupid because it doesn't matter that you're 40K or whatever. Arch has 100,000 something subscribers, close to 200,000. I don't even know. A fucking lot of subscribers who like Games Workshop content and also like Arch. Why in shit would you cut off, even if the majority of those are down, even if it's just 10,000 active people, why would you cut off 10,000 customers? Why would you do that? Big Red Bear says, it's ridiculous that... my favorite story thread or series of events in the 40K setting. A little cliche, Eisenhorn's storyline is great. I love the character. I love the side characters. I love the story. If that's too cheesy of an answer, I really, really like Uriel Ventress and Pausanias. And if that's too mainstream and cheesy for you, the Soul Drinkers are badasses. And Sarpendon is a fucking monster, and I like him. And I really like what they did with his Psyker abilities. It's not so overt. At first I was like, but he doesn't just shoot lightning like a badass. But the hell is fucking cool. And Soul Drinkers really are awesome. I like Gaunt's Ghost too. It's just not my favorite. But if you're not familiar with the Soul Drinkers arcs, they're really good. They're really good. Nova Zero. Wait, Big Red Bear says it's ridiculous that orcs are ist. Against who? Orcs? No, against blacks. God, how do you not get this? The fictional species? No, the real species of blacks. Do they think about this? They aren't an allegory for people, damn it. Why are people so stupid, divorced from reality? Of course, because they were pressured into being stupid. this is what that does. The leftists, not the left, the leftists, right? The hardcore, the people with a cause, this is what they do. They push and push and push and pressure and pressure and pressure on someone until, and with the more ridiculous stuff that they can come up with. And once you give a millimeter, they ask for a centimeter. Once it's a centimeter, they ask for an inch because they switch back to American. Once they get an inch, they get a yard. They'll keep asking until you give them an astronomical unit, till you give them everything. They'll just keep asking. That's why you say no from the start. You say, fuck off. Go make your own. That's what they tell us. Right? That's what they tell us. Oh, you don't like that orcs are an allegory for black people that need to be fixed? Go make your own RPG, bigot. No, fuck you. I had one. You go make your own. Go make your own. Go make your woke trash. No one will buy it. It'll be great. Enjoy. Go do it. They did it to Vampire the Masquerade. They already did it. Go there. Leave my shit alone. Don't tell me to make my own. I have my own. I have Space Marines. I have Necrons and orcs. Funny orcs. Funny orcs that use fucking pigeon speak. It's great. It's fantastic. Leave it alone. Go make your own shit. No one likes you. No one ever liked you. They didn't. You know they didn't, and they still don't. Grudging acceptance is not like. Everyone would piss on your corpse. Anyway. Nova Zero says, makes great foreign policy. Stop selling weapons to enemy states, but have all the weapons bought locally. Trigger leftists to increase demand. Easy. Angry Baneling says, by the way, you don't have a feminist haircut anymore. It's just growing out. I'll get it back. Loch Ness Mobster says, orcs are black? Then what are the black humans? Oh, that's a good question. All humans are white in D&D. Didn't you know that, you bigot? Bigot! Anyway. Thanks for getting me wound up there at the end. God damn it. That whole segment is pissing me off. Coming into and despoiling, like Abaddon the Cucked, despoiling things that already exist and people like, and then telling the people who want the old thing back to go make their own is bullshit. But there are people out there making their own and making shit that isn't woke, and maybe we need to start supporting them. Guys, check out Frog God Games. If you're an RPG person who doesn't want woke trash, check out Frog God Games. Don't pause on Steve Jackson. Steve Jackson's in the woke community. Frog God isn't. There are solutions, but you can check them out. One more. Crusader Saracen says, Nick, the death cult is incapable of creating their own works. It is useless to appeal to them to do so. All they can do is take something beloved, be it video games or tabletop or Star Wars, pause it until it dies. Well, Bronx Blogger's not dead. Then move on to the next field like Locust. I agree. So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. Come join me on Twitch in just a few minutes here. We're going to do Running Man with Arnold. We're going to do Running Man. I can't ever do an Arnold impression again. His was so damn good. We're going to do Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The outro is coming. Here we go. We'll get it set up here. So come join us for that. I don't know if we're going to do 2 movies tonight, but we may do 2 movies tonight. We'll see. Not going to do 4 movies tonight. Also, Live Chat Wednesday is tomorrow. If you are a supporter on Patreon, check out Live Chat Wednesday. I need to make a subscribe star for people who hate Patreon, since new Project 2 is dead. But if you're not a supporter on Patreon and want to be a supporter on Patreon and participate in the best Patreon community that there is, go ahead. Go to, or the best Discord community that there is. Sorry. Go to Patreon. Go to Patreon, donate at the $5, $10, or $20 level, and make sure your Discord is tied up to your Patreon, and you will automatically be shuffled in and given the role. The live chat is at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and I will see many of you there, hear many of you there, and it's just a place where we hang out and talk, and it's a fun time. So come do it. All right, guys, I'll see you over on Twitch. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
On Twitter, as we hear lost planning tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed, so pour out a glass for the tea. Post on Twitter as we hear lost painting tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law